have been greatly along political lines, with an overwhelming 82% of Republicans now backing war, compared to just 37% of Democrats. The possibility of such an attack has been discussed a lot more this year than any time in decades. Repeated North Korean tests have been presented as a growing threat to the U.S. mainland, with the Trump administration declaring diplomacy a failure from the start. Despite so much talk of imminent war and a shift toward support for military aggression, the poll also showed a majority of Americans don't think a U.S. attack would be happening in the next 6 months, suggesting that most believe something short of a war is going to be given considerable additional time. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Department of Justice will not be permitted to withhold federal grant funds from cities that refuse to assist federal immigration officials to pursue suspected undocumented immigrants, according to a federal judge on Friday. U.S. District Judge Harry D. Leinenweber in Illinois said in a 41-page ruling that Attorney General Jeff Sessions likely overstepped his authority in efforts to urge sanctuary cities to give federal agents access to jails or tip them off when a suspected undocumented immigrant is scheduled for release. The policy to withhold federal funding was rooted in an executive order signed by President Donald Trump in January, declaring sanctuary cities would not be eligible for federal grants, which Sessions has been working to enforce ever since. In July, Sessions added new requirements for local law enforcement, specifically requiring access to jails and information on suspected undocumented immigrants 48 hours before their release from jail in order to be eligible for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. The lawsuit was filed by Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel in early August in response to the new requirements. Chicago officials said 37 municipal and county governments also filed briefs in support of their suit. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports hundreds of protesters poured into St. Louis streets on Friday, and some scuffles erupted after a Missouri judge acquitted a former police officer of murder. With the National Guard on standby in case of violence, authorities appealed to demonstrators to remain peaceful as they protested the outcome of a case reminiscent of circumstances that spawned racially charged unrest in nearby Ferguson and gave rise to the Black Lives Matter movement in 2014. Police said several protesters threw rocks and water bottles, while video footage and eyewitnesses witnessed police officers dousing at least 5 people with pepper spray about a block from the courthouse. As of Friday night, police reported making 13 arrests and said 4 officers had been assaulted. One group of demonstrators tried to enter Interstate 40, but were blocked by police officers in riot gear. Former St. Louis police officer Jason Stockley was found not guilty of first-degree murder in the shooting death of Anthony Lamar Smith 5 weeks after the end of a non-jury trial. Stockley said Smith fled in his car when the officer tried to arrest him on drug charges. Defense attorney said Stockley believes Smith was armed. A gun was found in the car, though prosecutors argued Stockley planted the weapon and that the gun only had Stockley's DNA on it. Stockley and his partner shot Smith 5 times while he was in his car. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
An unpopular police officer thinks about committing a racially motivated offense for a little support. A middle-aged man is having the best snacks of his life, and a housefly drops everything to go stand on a watermelon slice. This is the Onion Week in Review. Noting the youth center's ping pong table and array of DVDs and Blu-rays, local youth minister Mark Kindler told reporters this week that his church's new rec room has everything a teen could want. The youth pastor revealed that the basement facility's many teen-friendly amenities include a new Wii U console, an iPod dock for the teens to play any music they like, and some comfortable recliners for those who just want to relax or do their homework after school.
We've really gone out of our way to give the rec room a laid-back atmosphere. It's stocked with snacks, but sometimes at the end of the week, we'll spring for some pizza. Honestly, I wish I had a place like this when I was their age.
In other news, increased violence leads the State Department to issue an advisory for Americans traveling to 1861, and an elderly lobbyist is always droning on about how little legislation used to cost in his day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in line here momentarily where you can join us here live on this Saturday night. The us in studio is Darryl.
And Mark.
And Mark, you've got a really interesting kind of story. This was out of Texas where there was apparently some kind of Eagle Scout hike sort of something, and somebody wound up unfortunately losing their life, and there's a lawsuit.
There is. So this is from MSN.com, and I'm sure you can find this story in multiple locations. But basically, it's a story about a young man who's attempting to be an Eagle Scout.
All right.
Now, generally, when I think of an Eagle Scout, I think of, the most brave, sure, trustworthy young men that America has to offer. Now, and that requires some things. I mean, and I think people generally hold a pretty high regard for Eagle Scouts, no matter what they think about the Boy Scouts of America or whatever.
It's not exactly easy to become an Eagle Scout. If it was easy, as they say, everybody could do it.
Yeah. And
I've actually pulled up some info
Go ahead.
on what it takes to be an Eagle Scout. Apparently, it takes a bunch of merit badges, according to the NESA, which is the National Eagle Scout Association. It takes, of the 130 plus merit badges available, 21 must be earned to qualify for Eagle Scout of this group. So you have to have 21, but they have to fall into certain categories. 13 badges are required of total here: first aid, citizenship in the community, citizenship in the nation, citizenship in the world, whatever those three things mean, communications, cooking, those both seem straightforward, as does first aid, environmental services, personal fitness, personal management, camping, and family life. In addition, a scout has a choice between emergency preparedness and life-saving, and a choice among cycling, hiking, and swimming. This particular Boy Scout seeking the Eagle Scout certification here appeared to be going down the hiking route.
Yeah, his name's Reed Comita. He was a 15-year-old young man. And
we've actually got some calls, so we'll jump into this story a little deeper.
All right, take your call.
Your calls and thoughts welcome, 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Chris calling in from Virginia. Chris, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl and Mark. What's on your mind?
What's going through my mind is these four walls of my 8 by 10 cell that I am in 24 hours a day unless I get to take a shower, which happens maybe 2-3 times a week. It's Chris Campbell. I'm in the Albemarle, Charlottesville Regional Jail, and I want to talk to you guys today about Antifa violence.
So this is the Christopher Cantwell that recently was all over the news. Cantwell, can you describe yourself in a way that listeners might be able to readily remember who you are?
I am the host of Radical Agenda. It is a live, open phones, right-wing, uncensored talk show. And I came down to Charlottesville, Virginia for a peaceful, permitted demonstration championed by the ACLU. I was attacked by communists. I defended myself. And now I am in jail facing 60 years in prison.
That seems to be a pretty accurate description, and Free Talk Live faced a little bit of heat early on when this sort of happened, because you were at one time a co-host here on Free Talk Live. You were let go because our views don't exactly coincide, but nonetheless, I kind of feel like you're being made an example of, and that's not what I consider to be justice. Go ahead.
Well, it's certainly not. And, I wanted to point out, it seems to me that everybody's talking about this violent white nationalist rally that happened in Charlottesville last month as if communists are peaceful, loving hippies who just want to smoke their weed and be left alone. And that is not the case. And I got a piece today. I got a subscription to the Washington Post recently, which is a communist propaganda rag, not some right-wing blog. And there's a piece here, Antifa-linked violence draws criticism from right and left. And I'd like to read a couple of excerpts from that real quick. Here's one of them. Interviews with a dozen Antifa activists show they come from a variety of backgrounds and are only loosely affiliated. Some, like Hines, are youths in search of a cause. Others have been demonstrating for decades. Many are anarchists, though some vote. They employ a range of peaceful tactics, including doxing or exposing. I'm sorry?
They say many are anarchists, but some vote. I'm not even entirely sure what that statement means. But
that's another day with the voting thing. While they are all open to using violence, some embrace it, even glorify it. What unites them is the belief that free speech is secondary to squashing fascism before it takes root in the United States. Quote, if everyone is punching a Nazi, it's eventually going to create a mass militant movement based around anti-fascism, Hines said. That'll hopefully be enough to stop them from gaining power.
If everybody's punching a Nazi or somebody that they consider to be a Nazi, meaning a Trump supporter or whatever terminology they use, that's what that's going to do is that's going to cause a lashback, and it's going to.
And I am that backlash.
I'd say that's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and more importantly, ladies and gentlemen, there's a petition with over 300,000 signatures on it to classify this group as a terrorist organization, okay? These are the people who attacked me in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I pepper sprayed only one of them. Two people are accusing me of pepper spraying them who I didn't even pepper spray, and that's why I'm facing 60 years in prison. The story continues. It says 2 years ago.
Before you go on, you've made an accusation that they're the ones making the violence, but didn't you go to Charlottesville with the intention of conflicting with these people?
I went down to Charlottesville as an invited speaker to a rally with a permit. I knew that we were being threatened, so you better believe I went down here prepared for violence. I just read on the most recent episode of the Radical Agenda, we read off dozens of incidents from June of last year to June of this year of Antifa engaging in violence against people, and they weren't even listing things like punching Richard Spencer. They don't consider it violence to attack the alt-right. So I came down here knowing that violent communists were threatening me and my people, and I came down here prepared to defend myself. You better believe it.
Go ahead.
And so the story continues. They say, 2 years ago, Trump's presidential campaign changed everything. White supremacists began holding rallies in the Bay Area. Antifa began confronting them with violence, which is the Washington Post telling you that there's white nationalists who are holding a rally in a park, and then the Antifa come and they attack them violently.
Okay.
Here's another one. Like many in the Antifa movement, Hines says that had more people joined the far-left militants fighting fascists in pre-war Germany and Italy, Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini would never have come to power. Asked whether that comparison glorified today's Antifa violence, Hines says it needs to be glorified. We need to attract people to our side. He was unconcerned that skirmishes could escalate into shootouts. He says, quote, at least that way we'd be able to fight back, he said. So these people are engaging in criminal acts of initiatory violence with explicitly political purposes against people like your humble correspondent here, and we're the ones who are ending up in jail and getting painted like the bad guys in the media. And whenever anybody thinks of my views, that's something that should concern every American.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think it's you guys that are being the ones who are, the bad guys?
Because it is fashionable to talk about how equal everybody is. And it's unfashionable to say that there are differences between racial groups, because the Jews will come after you in the media if you say things like that. And it's funny to me that they say that they want to prevent Hitler from coming to power. I got a piece, actually. I never read Mein Kampf before. I'm not a Hitlerite. But somebody sent me the book. If everybody's calling me a Nazi, I might as well read the source material, right? Well, here's something interesting. Here's a page from Mein Kampf. I also came to understand that physical intimidation has its significance for the mass as well as for the individual. Here again, the psychological effect has been calculated to a nicety. Intimidations in workshops, in factories, and assembly halls, and at mass demonstrations will always meet with success as long as it does not have to encounter the same kind of intimidation in a stronger form. Then, of course, the Social Democrat Party will raise a horrified outcry and appeal to the authority of the state, which it has just repudiated, and will, in most cases, achieve quietly its aim amid the general confusion confusion, namely to discover some bovine creature holding an important government position who, in a vain attempt to curry favor with the dreaded opponent in the case of future trouble, is ready to finish off those who would dare to oppose this world enemy.
So you're
and
saying
I think that speaks volumes to what's happening today.
You're saying that these Antifa folks follow this particular path that was laid out in Mein Kampf. Is that what you're saying?
They think they're stopping Adolf Hitler from coming to power. They are doing exactly what was happening as Adolf Hitler came to power. They were going around intimidating people in workshops and on the streets. They're engaging in criminal acts of violence.
Hold your thought, Chris. We'll bring you back. This is Free Talk Live.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. If you want to promote your business, organization, website, or club, radio's a great way to reach a lot of people. And because the ads are low cost, you can reach them a lot more often. Repetition builds reputation, and ads with audio are just more convincing than print or digital. If you need local people, please contact this station. If you can sell nationally, I'd love to help. Free Talk Live is nationally syndicated on more than 170 radio stations, and we have a large and loyal podcast audience. Check out our packages at advertise.freetalklive.com. If you need something custom, contact me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
Attention type 2 diabetics. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA has warned that Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR and other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes cause an increased role in amputations of the toes, feet, and legs. If you or a loved one has taken Invokana, Invocomet, or Invocomet XR or other inhibitors for type 2 diabetes and suffered amputation of the toes, feet, or legs, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-475-7607. That's 800-475-7607. Again, 800-475-7607. Call now. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. www.injuryhelpdesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Anyone can publish on the internet, but not everyone is publishing material suited for online reading. According to the Yahoo Style Guide, it cautions that internet content has a few seconds, 3 or less, to encourage people to read more, to take action, or navigate to another one of your pages. So make it easy for readers to pick and choose. Isn't that the way you poke around online? Use short words, short sentences, short paragraphs, bulleted lists, and short pages. Front load what you write, putting the most important information at the beginning of headlines and paragraphs and sentences. Same goes for your keywords, what someone would likely type into the search box on Yahoo or Google. For more tips on communicating better online or in a job interview or everyday life, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, where you can join us on this live Saturday night, the us being Darryl
and Mark.
And we've got Chris on the line. We'll get back to Chris, but Mark, tell us about Dash.
Yeah. So Dash is digital cash, and if you want to build a better financial platform, you should check it out, because what it does is it's designed to replace the cash we use today and help people to manage their own wealth. It's fast, it can be private, it's easy, fees are low, and transactions are fast, or can even be confirmed instantly if you want. You can pay anyone anywhere in the world at any time for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping to run the network and make governance decisions. Anyone can invest in Dash and earn rewards for helping to run the Dash network. People have made a lot of money on Dash since we started. It's gone from the value of one Dash being $40 to the value of one Dash being, I think it's about $300 right now. So
close to.
Yeah, makes a difference. Join Dash and help create a better financial system for everyone. Take back control over your financial future today. Find out more at dash.org. There's a lot of momentum behind Dash right now, so go to dash.org and find out why.
So we have Chris calling in from the Albemarle County Jail in Virginia. Chris had gone down from New Hampshire to Virginia to take part in the Unite the Right rally that turned into basically fisticuffs between a bunch of white supremacists and sympathizers thereof and people that are being labeled Antifa. And really, Antifa seems to be kind of a catch-all term of anybody opposed to...
Both of these sides appear to be catch-all terms. It's very difficult to... I mean, I certainly have no love for the particular ideas of racism or anything like that. Don't want to seem like I'm, giving the platform. But I can't say I disagree with really anything that Cantwell said, because I don't agree with the Antifa people
when you
either.
say you don't disagree with anything he said, you mean... Of
today.
What he said on the air tonight.
That's correct.
Okay.
This is the problem is that, I don't want to be put in this position of agreeing with Cantwell, but, in this case, I can't help but do it.
But what's interesting, guys? You see where we're getting at. Like, if you just talk to some member of the House of Representatives who voted for a war last year, like, you wouldn't need to say 10 times how much you disagree with him, right? You understand? Like, I'm being persecuted for my political opinions, and maybe you think that sucks. Maybe you think my political opinions are bad. But like, on what other political opinions do you have to go so hard to virtue signal against just to have a conversation with a guy who's being wrongly prosecuted, right?
Not too many.
It's really sick what things have come down to. And essentially, I'm not going to try to proselytize here, but I'm not out here trying to say that white people should dominate over all others and we should rule the world or exterminate all the other races. I'm essentially saying that there's differences between us, and some of those differences are in socially valued categories, which is a thing that's backed up by a great deal of science. And yet, for me to come down here and say that, I got to be attacked by communists. And when I call into a radio show with people I've known for years, they've got to go out of their way to say 10 times how much they disagree with me, even as they acknowledge that I'm being unjustly prosecuted.
I would like to say this further.
We've got this complete madness in our society today over this.
I get your point on that, Cantwell. I would go so much as to say this is any Antifa person or people who are sympathizers thereof, by God, please call in. I got some things that I'd like to talk about. Please go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I would love for them to call in too. I've been doing look, the Radical Agenda. I took part of my format. I took from you guys. It's an open phone show. I'm a guy who's happy to have a conversation with somebody. And Jordan Peterson, somebody if you're not familiar with, you should get familiar with. Really popular guy on YouTube these days. He's got a line I play on the show from time to time, which is, what you call people you can't talk to? Enemies. And if we want to divide our society into armed camps of enmity, then all we have to do is keep doing what we're doing. I have been willing to have a conversation with these people. I've been willing to talk it out with anybody. I went down for a peaceful, permitted demonstration championed by the ACLU, and communists resorted to violence against me and my people. And then we got prosecuted for it. I got maced twice in as many days. Nobody's in jail for attacking me. And we've got these people going out injuring cops in St. Louis today. There's a dozen injured cops in St. Louis, and they say the protests are mostly peaceful.
Chris, when there were the pumpkin riots here in Keene, it took the cops several months to identify people. I have no doubt at all that at some point in the coming months, people from, the quote-unquote other side from where you were will wind up facing some kind of charges. It takes time to identify
some
people.
will, but many of these people are professional agitators. They wear helmets. They wear masks. They wear, paintball masks. You can't determine who they are. They bring shields. They know how to do this because that's what they come to do.
And some bank robbers know how to wind up not getting caught robbing banks.
Sure.
Chris, thank you for the call, but that doesn't mean that the police aren't investigating and trying to identify people. And there are some people that say, well, they're only identifying the people on the right. No, they identified a guy that was in a Vice documentary that was very prominent, and it was very easy to identify that one particular person.
Sure. And in his case, the victim of his crime was walking around fine 15 minutes after they got... I've been pepper sprayed in the face. I did it to myself by accident. It's a funny story. And
we've got time.
I was okay thereafter, 15 minutes later. Everything's fine. The idea that this guy needs to be held in jail for months while this crime, which is, it shouldn't be anything more than a misdemeanor, is worked out is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not saying I like Cantwell's line of thought, but I am saying that I tend to agree with him when he and his critiques on the left. The left loves to go to government to solve their problems and hates to talk to people.
But the right also loves to go to government to solve their problems.
Look, you can have any old dumb Republican will call in with their opinion. Republicans like to talk. I'm not saying every Republican's dumb. I'm an office-holding Republican. But what I am saying is that they don't have a problem discussing the issues and entertaining in the arena of ideas. Leftists, on the other hand, generally do not call this show. And, when was the last time a feminist called in to discuss that on the air?
I don't know how many feminists listen to talk radio, specifically this brand of talk radio.
Free Talk Live's been around for more than a decade, and the idea that you can call in and talk about anything you want is our premier byline. This shouldn't come as a shock to too large of a segment of the of America.
Right, but and I realize that Air America is not still a thing, but I would imagine that a self-described feminist would be more likely to listen to an Air America
style. We're on leftist channels all over America.
True.
That's the point I'm trying to make, Darryl, is that I will have tonight I will be on the air for another 2.5 hours.
Yep.
In that amount of time, the vast majority of my callers will be unidentified or identifying to the right. And that very few of them will identify to the left. And when they do, they're not going to be ready to talk about controversial issue. They'll be agreeing that, oh yeah, that righty's bad. So it's just their leftists don't entertain, to my mind, in the arena of ideas.
Or maybe they just don't want to talk to you.
This could be.
This is Free Talk Live, where you can talk to us. Toll-free call-in line is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we'll jump back into this Eagle Scout story as well. Very interesting. This is Free Talk Live.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available, comfortable interiors, and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. $39.95 plus shipping and handling. Use discount code GCN and receive 15% off your purchase at bugassault.com. Fire your fly swatter and get your Bug Assault today.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone. He bought a radiation monitor on eBay for $10.
You got to be kidding me.
A Geiger counter?
Yeah. So I said, let's put some batteries in it and get it fired up. So we fired it up. We started walking
You guys
around.
know how to spend an evening.
Yeah,
Get a
right.
couple of beers and hang out with a Geiger counter.
We were making readings of 10 Roentgens outside the house.
What's that mean? Is that bad?
Yeah, it is.
Is that dangerous?
Yeah, it is.
Really?
Right.
Now, where's the life-threatening one?
100 Roentgens. I'm really concerned now because I've seen...
But you weren't concerned before you got the radiation meter out.
Right.
Now you're definitely going to get cancer, Harry. What's the detector going to do for you, though? Really? I mean, if you're going to die, you're going to die, right?
The guy that just called in about radiation, first of all, you got a Geiger counter off the internet.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's the toll-free call-in line where you can join us, again, live here on a Saturday night. And, of course, we are a nationally syndicated talk radio show, but we also have a podcast. And we have a fair number of people that listen only to the podcast. If you're one of those people and you enjoy the podcast, leave a rating, leave a review. It helps move us higher in the list to where it makes it easier for people to find the podcast, thus getting us more listeners, really. So it's something easy that you can do for us. Let's go to the phones. We've got Michael calling in from Virginia Beach. Michael, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl and Mark. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you so much. I'm calling to talk about the DACA Dream Act boondoggle, and I may be interrupted for about 5 seconds. I'm here at the ocean front, just off the boardwalk in Virginia Beach, the world's largest resort city, and the Blue Angels are here for the Neptune Festival, so for about 5 seconds, you may hear a very loud jet going over my head.
All right,
okay.
So what are your thoughts on DACA and Dreamers and that sort of thing?
Well, it proves that Donald Trump is the greatest con man ever to occupy the White House. He has already come out saying that he wants to try to keep these so-called young people no way of proving what their age is. They came here undocumented. No way to prove that they were brought here by their parents.
All right, so hold on, Michael, before you get too far in here, can you explain what DACA is? Because there are probably people that have heard DACA but don't know what it is. So can you explain real quick what you're talking about?
Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. That's what DACA stands for. And the original boondoggler, Barack Obama, said, well, these are people who were brought to this country through no fault of their own, brought here illegally by their parents, and they have no other country. We shouldn't send them back.
So do you think people that were brought into the country through no fault of their own should be deported after they've been here for 5 or more years?
Well, actually, the position of Obama and Trump was that they are subject under our laws to deportation. So,
right, and the President of the United States has the authority to issue pardons and reprieves, and saying we're not going to deport you now is a reprieve. So it's well within the president's authority to not implement a punishment on someone.
Well, Jay Sekulow of the, what is it?
Center for Law and Justice, the ACLJ.
Yeah, the ACLJ. Jay Sekulow took them to court, and they won. It's unconstitutional. They can't do that. They said that the president could not do that.
What was it unconstitutional for? Hold on, Michael. Was it unconstitutional for Barack Obama to commute the sentence of Private Chelsea Manning?
I'm just saying that they have.
Was it unconstitutional for Donald Trump to pardon Joe Arpaio, which some people are actually claiming, and there's a court case on right now?
I think it's fine for you to make your point, but I haven't even had a chance to make mine. If your audience...
No, your point is that DACA is unconstitutional, and I'm challenging you on your point.
Here's the point. The Supreme Court has made a decision on it already. So the Supreme Court's decision stands.
What was the Supreme Court decision?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this ruling.
Well, that Barack Obama could not, through executive order, override the laws of the United States. And in fact, Trump said that too, and that's why he has thrown it to the Congress and said,
it should be thrown to the Congress. It absolutely should. 100%. I support Donald Trump on tossing it to the Congress. However, I think that it is short-sighted of the American people to just say that we need to throw these young people out of the country. Young, old, I don't care what they are. If they speak reasonable English, they've been in the United States most of the time. Exactly what would be the point in sending them off to hither and yon? You spent the money educating them.
That there's actually not been a Supreme Court decision. The Supreme Court heard a case about DACA, but it came back with a 4-4 tie, which means that there was no Supreme Court decision on the constitutionality of DACA.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what the boondoggle part of this is. It's what they are proposing to do to correct it. Now, listen to this. They are saying to us that these 800,000 people who supposedly came here with no proof that they were underage when they came here, these 800,000 people are alleging that their parents were the criminals. However, when we make a deal with co-conspirators in a crime, even if there are children involved, prosecutors are required to get something for that.
I thought there was something called prosecutorial discretion.
Pardon me?
I said, I've always been told that there's this thing called prosecutorial discretion, to where the prosecutors get to decide whether to bring about charges.
So whether I don't agree with his, but I want to hear his premise. What's the premise?
Well, the premise is this. They are to give up their parents, identify who they are, where they are, testify against them in court, and if their testimony results in a conviction, then they have a deal.
Wait a
So
second.
you want to make people turn everybody into a snitch. You got to rat somebody out, and then we'll let you off on that jaywalking ticket.
Yeah, this stinks. I'll tell you what. This stinks like Nazis. When I was a kid, sitting in that 1971 Cutlass with a cabrio top that my mother drove us around with the hole in the door because the rock was thrown up by the lawnmower, I asked her, Mommy, what's wrong with the communists? Because, of course, you'd hear about the Soviet Union on the radio and that sort of thing.
Yep,
and
Khrushchev
she said there in the
the shoe.
Soviet Union, what they made kids do in school was turn in their parents. To me, that was the number one thing that defined, what the lack of freedom is. And that's what you're asking these people to do. It's disgusting.
No. That's what they've already done. They've already accused their parents.
Yes, but you're asking them to turn them over.
Pardon me?
You're asking them to turn them over. Now we want evidence.
No, I'm saying that our standard of law says that if we're going to give you a reduced sentence or some kind of a deal from the prosecutor, you've got to deliver on the other criminals.
Excellent. Here's what I want. I want my police officers to go and do a little more hunting than politicians that pass these laws. We've got enemies domestic here. Those people swore an oath to the Constitution. That's what I want from my government. I want them to look at themselves because I'm sick and tired of the watchers watching me. The watchers need to watch themselves. Thanks for the call.
I've had judges and prosecutors place tickets on file for me, which means we're not prosecuting you right now. And they never said, we need you to stand on the side of the road with a radar gun for us to catch 3 more speeders before we place this on file.
Look,
so the whole thing of before they can reduce your sentence, you have to snitch on somebody else. It's a thing that exists in fantasy land in the minds of people like Michael.
This whole fight over 800,000 people who speak good English and the best we can tell really aren't, they aren't more criminal than, regular Americans. We can find that out. Correct. They're happy to trot out crimes, these folks do, and by God they do. But nobody ever says, American citizen chops up woman, puts her in a box. They don't do that.
How many stories do you read about Florida man that does something? Should we just ban Florida completely?
Being from Florida, I think that might be a solution.
Hashtag ban Florida man. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown. Not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Are you tired of paying fees and commissions to that other site? I know you are. And I'm here to tell you about a great alternative to sell your stuff. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the best-selling site to ever come along. It doesn't matter what you're selling, big or small, it's easier than ever. And you can use Skype to show your items and get to know your potential buyer, and they can see that you are for real. No more blind trust. And you're not limited to snapshots. You can video what you're selling to better sell it fast. For as little as $9.95, and that's after a free 30 days, you can sell everything you no longer want with absolutely no fees, ever. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and become part of a community of buyers and sellers who have already discovered this revolutionary way of getting it sold online. That's BuySellMakeOffer.com. You'll never regret making the switch. BuySellMakeOffer.com. So, what are you waiting for?
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people exchanging skills and services, from web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That is the toll-free call-in line where you can join us live on this Saturday night, the us being Darryl and Mark, and we'll get back to the phones in just a second.
Do you want to reach a whole bunch of people with the ideas of liberty? Well,
yes, I do.
Yeah, you can do it from the back of your car with libertystickers.com. You can reach thousands of people with bumper stickers, and you know people love to read them. I'm sure you've been in traffic and inched forward just to be able to read those bumper stickers.
Yep.
You can check out the vast selection of witty, poignant, pithy, and downright bombastic liberty-oriented messages at libertystickers.com. I've got a few at my house, libertystickers.com.
And last time I checked, they still have an amazing deal where if you buy 100 bumper stickers, you get a really good discount.
That's true.
And depending on what size vehicle you have, you might be able to fit about 47 bumper stickers on the back end. Not that I had that many on the back end of a Nissan Sentra when I moved up here 5.5 years ago.
But it wasn't far from that.
I will neither confirm nor deny. I think total there were 53 bumper stickers on the vehicle, the vast majority on the back end. Let's go back to the phones. We've got Rob calling in from Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. Rob, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl and Mark. What's on your mind?
Call me crazy.
All right, crazy. What's on your mind?
Crazy Rob.
I'm actually talking about what you guys initially talked about with the Eagle Scout requirements.
Yep.
Yes.
And the citizenship in the world and citizenship in the community and citizenship in the nation.
Right. So let me recap very briefly. So we were going over some of the merit badges, and 13 of the badges have to come from, and then they list off things. One of them being citizenship in the community, another being citizenship in the nation, and one of them citizenship in the world.
That is correct. Yeah.
And I had made the statement of whatever that actually means. So Rob, hopefully you can clarify this for us.
Okay. So I'm assuming that neither of you have children in Scouts that have gone through these merit badges.
And I was never a Scout myself.
I was a Cub Scout.
Okay. Bear with me, because my son is actually going for Eagle Scout. He just started his Eagle Scout.
You must be proud.
month. I'm sorry?
You must be proud.
Yes, I am.
I bet.
I am very proud.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and he's way better than I ever was as a kid. Yeah, that's for sure. However, those 3 merit badges are probably 3 of the most difficult merit badges that the Scouts have to earn throughout their entire Eagle career.
Yeah, the local community one, you have to do a project in the community, right?
As an Eagle Scout, you actually end up doing a project in the community, but any of these merit badges involve discovering what your role is and what the political role is in the community, in the nation, and in the world. And I would.
Who determines what that role is that you discover?
The Scouts do, and you can actually search that. If you actually do a Google search on any one of those, if you do citizenship in the community requirements, citizenship in the nation requirements, or citizenship in the world requirements, you'll actually see what they're required to do, many of which require writing a letter to their congressman, attending a local board meeting. This is what kind of shocked me when I heard you guys talk about this, because the citizenship badge in the community requires that you actually attend a local board meeting, that you actually go and you ask questions and that you bring up whatever concerns you have in your community.
That's assuming that the local board actually winds up allowing public comments. Here in Keene, New Hampshire, the town where... Hold on. So the town where we're broadcasting from, they have meetings, but they only allow public comment maybe once a month, maybe if you're lucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I said if they allow public comment.
That when my son attended our meeting, we're actually just west of Indianapolis. It's a small community. When we showed up, there were like 3 other people sitting in the stands. The board meeting, all the board members kind of looked at us like, okay, what are these people going to complain about?
Yep.
And he kind of piped up and said, no, I'm just here because, it's a requirement for my merit badge, and I want to see what the board meetings are about.
All right. Attending a local board meeting makes sense for community. What about the nation and citizenship of the world? Any input on those?
Okay, on the nation and the world, and you got to bear with me because he did these a while ago, so now I have to sort of look back. However, I do want to touch on, okay, so how many 13-year-old kids do you know actually went to a board meeting for their local board?
I don't know very many 13-year-old kids, and the number that have gone to a board meeting is probably less than that.
Okay. I'm just putting that out there that the Scouts are doing this sort of stuff when everybody else isn't, okay?
Yep.
Okay, and my comment of whatever that means was not to take away from anything that the Scouts do or say they don't do anything. It was just a statement of, I don't know what these 3 things mean.
Yeah, and I don't know what a citizen of the world is either.
Okay, so citizenship of the nation, let's look at the requirements on that. Visit a place that is listed as a National Historic Landmark. Tour your state capitol building. Tour a federal facility. Choose a national monument that interests you. Pay attention to evening news. There are so many things.
Okay.
You really have to look these up.
What are some? Well, you had said that you had some insight, so I was hoping that you would be able to recall some of this from memory.
I'll tell you what, visiting state capitol.
Now you're going to make me look like a bad parent.
No, you're doing good.
Not at all. Like several years ago that we actually accomplished.
No, you've done this successfully.
And we're trying to, because they actually upped the merit badges for Eagle Scout requirements last year.
Rob, I'm not trying to make you look like a bad parent. Somebody could call in and say, do you remember when I called last night? And I would say, nope.
Right. I think you've done a fine job telling us that much more about Eagle Scouts, but I just think it's kind of funny that kids living in L.A. that want to be Eagle Scouts have to go all the way up to Sacramento versus kids living in, say, Rhode Island. They're only 20 miles from Providence, no matter where they are.
Pretty much anywhere in New Hampshire, you're just over an hour away at most.
Yep.
Well, I guess I missed that. Why do they have to go to Sacramento?
They have to go to the state capitol, right?
They have to visit the state capitol. Sacramento's the state capital of California, so that's like a 7-hour drive from San Diego.
The distance is so far. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, then I feel bad for the poor kids that live in El Paso, having to take like a 2-day trip to go to Austin. Rob,
okay.
Rob, good call.
I agree with. I mean, that's really difficult, and we are only 20 minutes from our state capital, so it is so much easier for our son to be able to visit our state capital for that.
Yep. Rob, thank you for the call. Let's go to Mark, also calling in from Indianapolis, also listening to WIBC. Mark, you're on with Darryl and another Mark. This is Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, first thing, I'm a retired Army First Sergeant. I'm also a former federal police officer. And our immigration system is just, it's useless. One of my soldiers who I was in Iraq with in 2006 came back to the U.S., got out of the military, became a Border Patrol agent, was in El Paso for 8 years. He said it was a joke. Second thing is, he's gotten out of Border Patrol. He's now in ICE. And he says it's a joke in ICE because nobody's being deported, because federal judges, all you have to do when you get a deportation order, say you're a victim of a crime, any crime. And he goes, it's funny, they're all victims of some guy wearing blue jeans and a white muscle shirt. So they get a stay if they're a victim of a crime while in the U.S. He says it takes 6 to 8 years to deport somebody.
Are they in jail this whole time?
No, they're not.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to say where he's at because I don't want the government to come down on him, but there was a whole plane full of Iraqis getting ready to go back to Iraq, and a federal judge stopped it from going because they said they'd be persecuted if they got back to Iraq.
There's a lot of Iraqis that helped the U.S. military that were going to be persecuted, in many cases killed.
And there were also people that were Kurdish that were to be deported.
Terps, interpreters. We had Terps working for us, and they're covered. There's one right here in Bloomington, Indiana, that was brought over here.
As I understand, they weren't treated as well as they could be, but go ahead.
And I'm old enough to remember President Reagan when he gave amnesty, and you say, well, the DREAM Act, when are we going to have the next DREAM Act? 2012?
I think that's a legitimate argument. I think that's a totally a legitimate argument. I'm of the opinion that really the problem with immigration in this country is the freebies. The fact that people come here with, in some cases, the expectation that they'll get a bunch of free stuff. I don't have any problem with people who want to come here and work hard.
Mark, feel free to hold over the news. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Dash is set up to succeed where other platforms have failed. Give it a try at dash.org. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment, walking down the street, to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 16th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.59 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,320 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,873. Antiwar.com reports a new poll from Gallup shows that a majority of Americans, 58%, are in favor of attacking North Korea militarily if the U.S. cannot accomplish its goal by more peaceful means first. Americans were split more or less evenly on whether sanctions and diplomacy could work. This is the first time since 2003 that Gallup has asked about attacking North Korea. At that time, only 47% favored an attack. The shift in the last 14 years appears to have been greatly along political lines, with an overwhelming 82% of Republicans now backing war, compared to just 37% of Democrats. The possibility of such an attack has been discussed a lot more this year than any time in decades. Repeated North Korean tests have been presented as a growing threat to the U.S. mainland, with the Trump administration declaring diplomacy a failure from the start. Despite so much talk of imminent war and a shift toward support for military aggression, the poll also showed a majority of Americans don't think a U.S. attack would be happening in the next 6 months, suggesting that most believe something short of a war is going to be given considerable additional time. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Department of Justice will not be permitted to withhold federal grant funds from cities that refuse to assist federal immigration officials to pursue suspected undocumented immigrants, according to a federal judge on Friday. U.S. District Judge Harry D. Leinenweber in Illinois said in a 41-page ruling that Attorney General Jeff Sessions likely overstepped his authority in efforts to urge sanctuary cities to give federal agents access to jails or tip them off when a suspected undocumented immigrant is scheduled for release. The policy to withhold federal funding was rooted in an executive order signed by President Donald Trump in January, declaring sanctuary cities would not be eligible for federal grants, which Sessions has been working to enforce ever since. In July, Sessions added new requirements for local law enforcement, specifically requiring access to jails and information on suspected undocumented immigrants 48 hours before their release from jail in order to be eligible for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. The lawsuit was filed by Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel in early August in response to the new requirements. Chicago officials said 37 municipal and county governments also filed briefs in support of their suit. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports hundreds of protesters poured into St. Louis streets on Friday, and some scuffles erupted after a Missouri judge acquitted a former police officer of murder. With the National Guard on standby in case of violence, authorities appealed to demonstrators to remain peaceful as they protested the outcome of a case reminiscent of circumstances that spawned racially charged unrest in nearby Ferguson and gave rise to the Black Lives Matter movement in 2014. Police said several protesters threw rocks and water bottles, while video footage and eyewitnesses witnessed police officers dousing at least 5 people with pepper spray about a block from the courthouse. As of Friday night, police reported making 13 arrests and said 4 officers had been assaulted. One group of demonstrators tried to enter Interstate 40, but were blocked by police officers in riot gear. Former St. Louis police officer Jason Stockley was found not guilty of first-degree murder in the shooting death of Anthony Lamar Smith 5 weeks after the end of a non-jury trial. Stockley said Smith fled in his car when the officer tried to arrest him on drug charges. Defense attorney said Stockley believes Smith was armed. A gun was found in the car, though prosecutors argued Stockley planted the weapon and that the gun only had Stockley's DNA on it. Stockley and his partner shot Smith 5 times while he was in his car. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Captain Actual America is overweight and hopelessly in debt, and the Richie Rich comic strip introduces a new, even gayer character. As if you needed another reason to remain in your isolated and socially degenerative cocoon, this is the Onion Week in Review, Comics Edition. Sources confirmed Tuesday that the Comic Book and Sci-Fi Expo Comic-Con was once again marred by BullyCon, an increasingly popular event held in the same convention space. Now in its 5th year, BullyCon reportedly drew more than 125,000 tormentors from across the nation, all of whom were bent on beating up and torturing those attending the many comic book, television, and movie panels at Comic-Con.
When this got started, it was just a couple of friends who wanted to beat the shit out of some Joss Whedon fans, but now there are thousands of us, ruining Walking Dead panels, taunting Harry Potter nerds, and really making some video gamers' lives completely miserable. I don't necessarily need to travel to San Diego to slap a copy of Spider-Man out of some pussy's hands, but there's something really special about coming together with people who dig the same sort of cruelty you do.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free call-in line where you can join us here live on a Saturday night. I know it's unusual for there to be live programming that's not sports-related on a weekend, but we are because we're live all 7 nights of the week. Although every now and then we aren't actually live, but we're still on the air, and tomorrow's going to be one of those strange days because we're heading out to the Seacoast for the 5th anniversary screening of Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. You can watch the movie for free at victimlesscrimespree.com, or maybe you want to get one of these limited edition DVDs that has a bunch of bonus material. You can do that as well. Those DVDs are available, victimlesscrimespree.com. In
so
studio,
the show will
it's
be
Darryl
and Mark. The show will be unique, live to tape. Won't be live for call-in.
Correct. But tonight and most other nights, you can call in. Again, 855-450-FREE. We go back to another Mark in Indianapolis. Mark, thank you for holding over the news. You had called in. You were talking about the immigration system because you have an acquaintance that worked for Border Patrol, then went to work for ICE, and you said that he told you no one gets deported, but I'm looking at the ICE website right now. They're showing 240,000 removals in fiscal year 2016.
No, that is the removal orders. Now, here's the let me explain it this way. And by the way, I'm an immigrant. My dad married a French woman. I was born in France. And my mom had to, she didn't get the press too for French. And my topic doesn't just concern Hispanics, by the way, because we have a big Asian illegal population.
Yeah,
But
it used to be the Chinese was the second largest group.
If only there were a giant ocean between the two countries.
Yeah, we need to build a big moat.
You mentioned due process, and here's what my friend who served with me in Iraq said, who's in the immigration business. Okay, so you catch me here in Indianapolis. I'm illegal. Okay, you get what's called a detainer. I get detained. I see an immigration judge. Okay, well, I get to appeal it. The appeals process is over 6 months right now to a year. Okay, so I get to appeal it, just like anybody else has the right to appeal. But first, my first deportation hearing after I'm apprehended on a detainer order, it's going to be almost a year to see an immigration judge. They're so backed up. So I get my year, I get there, judge issues a deportation order, and that's the numbers you're seeing, number of deportations orders, not actual deportations.
It's listed here as removals, not deportation
right, it's called a removal
orders.
Order. Okay. Well, what happens is first you need that, and the country you're deported to, they need to agree to take you back. That's the first thing that has to happen. A lot of countries aren't doing that now, as you see on the local news. So if they don't want to take me back, the United States is stuck with me. But then I get to appeal that deportation order. And that takes years through the appeals process. Okay? And then when I finally get the final deportation order, the only thing I have to say is I was a victim of a crime while I was in the United States.
It's almost as if it's not worth deporting people who are hardworking folks who haven't committed crimes and are just trying to feed their families.
Hey, I don't agree. I don't disagree with you that. I've helped a lot of, I know, illegal, because this guy in town here was was exploiting them, not paying them. They're not going to take them to court. They're afraid they'll be deported.
So,
Mark,
Mark,
welding without welder's goggles.
Let me ask.
Fix our problem.
Let me ask you a question. What, in your opinion, makes a human illegal?
Okay. What makes them illegal? Okay. I knew you were going to throw that at me. Okay. Okay, they're here illegally. They're not an illegal human. Okay, I get that. Okay. But when you say DACA, okay, so listen, you're my son, you're going to college, and I'm a burglar. And I go steal your buddy next to you. I steal his computers and his TV. Now you need that computer to go to school. Now the police arrest me and they take the computer. It wasn't your fault your dad was a burglar. You needed the computer to go to college.
Right, but
Let's put some logic in this.
Possession of a stolen item is a crime. Are you saying that the child of the undocumented immigrant is stolen goods and somehow they should wind up being punished for a crime for their parents? To go back to your example of you steal a computer, give it to your son would not go to jail for the theft. You would still go to jail for the theft.
Exactly, but now you can deny him the computer he needs for college. It wasn't his fault. I stole the computer. Listen, to end it short, we have an immigration problem.
What's that problem?
Another DACA.
Agreed. But describe the problem.
We can have another amnesty. We have a problem.
Right, but what is the problem?
The problem is enforcement, and I'm not talking about kicking these young people out of here, these productive people. Okay, I'm talking about you come here on a vacation visa to go to Disneyland, and you never return. You blend into the society. Okay, so you've been here 10 years.
Happens all the time. The vast majority of illegals are here for that. And I don't mind using the term illegals, Darryl. I find that is Ian's all insulted by it. Maybe you are too. But to me, it's just vernacular.
I've just got a question about this because I have a warrant in South Carolina for an unpaid speeding ticket. Does that make me an illegal?
You know what it means.
No, I know what most people mean when they say it.
Then why ask?
Because I want them to use some common sense to see that they're using a term in a way that they should be using to apply to everybody that's ever committed any offense at any time during their life and never been prosecuted for it.
They're here illegally. Let's just say that. Let's not call them illegal. They're here illegally.
No, they crossed a border illegally. That does not mean that their presence is illegal.
Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does mean they're here. Yes, they're here illegally. If they cross the border illegally and they don't have a visa, they're here illegally.
Legal refers to the law. Right, I agree with you. The legal refers to the law, and in this case, it's illegal. Now, I have a problem with the law. I have a problem with the giant government bureaucracy intended to enforce it and how inefficient government is at everything, so why would we ask them to do this important task? I have a problem with all the freebies that are handed out to people that come to this nation for whatever reason, whether they come legally, illegally, as a refugee, or whatever. I don't think that the American taxpayer should have to deal with that burden. But then again, I don't think the American taxpayer should have to deal with any burdens, and I don't care where you're born.
And by and large, the people that immigrate into the United States do not get the welfare that people claim. And Will Coley from Call to Freedom actually knows a thing or two about this because his wife is an immigrant. He gave a very amazing speech at the Porcupine Freedom Festival over the summer titled Just Follow the Law, where he went through. Hold on, Mark. He went through all of the things that go into just following the law with immigration, talked about the numerous letters that he wound up getting from immigration officials saying, give us a bunch of money by the end of the week or we come to take your wife because we forgot to process this paper that you sent us.
There's a loophole in that. I've got a friend that's married to a Thai lady in Minnesota, another friend that's married to a Filipino lady in Maryland, and here's the deal. Okay, yeah, when you come here as an immigrant, you're supposed to be able to support yourself, not collect public services. But once you have a child in this country, that child is a citizen, and that child's entitled to food stamps, and that child's entitled to Section 8 housing if the parents aren't working, and that child's entitled to heat and energy assistance, and that child's entitled to food stamps and school meals. So there's a loophole in it.
Oh, I agree with you. And I have a problem with the entitlement programs, whether they're for citizens or for non-citizens. And I think that they create a culture of dependency among a certain class of folks, and that doesn't benefit anybody. It doesn't benefit the folks of that class. It doesn't benefit the taxpayer. It doesn't benefit the nation. It's a bad idea.
Right. And I think it's really, really sad. And Mark, thank you for the call. I think it's really sad that the immigration topic gets so intertwined with welfare when they're two completely separate things.
Right. But this nation, I mean, everybody would agree. This nation was built by immigrants who came here with the purpose of building a better life. There wasn't government handouts to accept. And, now the nation is...
I've traced both sides of my family back to Jamestown before there was a government.
Well, that's you're pretty far back. I certainly couldn't go that far.
Yeah, and when I say before there was a government, that means before Jamestown had organized itself into, the Virginia colony.
Yes.
There was no local government. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now at
855-510-BACK.
for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain.
Call 855-510-BACK to see if laser spine surgery is right for you. That's 855-510-BACK.
What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get back to the phones in just a second, and hopefully, maybe at some point, hopefully, we'll get back into the article that we started the show off with about the family of the Eagle Scout hopeful that wound up dying. The family is suing the camp where he died. Again, hopefully we'll get back into that. But if you keep calling about various topics, that's excellent as well. 855-450-FREE.
Once immigration's brought up on Free Talk Live, that's it. It's like the running of the bulls. What are you going to do? Now you can
run faster so you don't get gored.
You've heard about Bitcoin. Well, now you can mine Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com. You can forget about the costs, the constant equipment upgrades, and the maintenance. Make Bitcoin every day, like I do, at pool.bitcoin.com. There's a 100% uptime guarantee. The website's easy to use, and you can calculate what you'll make right there in their website at pool.bitcoin.com. Now, just that you're not just helping to steer Bitcoin towards the liberating currency that Satoshi Nakamoto meant it to be, but you're also making money at pool.bitcoin.com. You're doing activism while you sleep. Pool.bitcoin.com.
And let's go to David calling in from New Mexico, listening to Kiva. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, yeah, I want to update you on a situation I talked about last week, I think, and then I got a question for you at the end if you'll help me remember. The situation was where I was doing some investigation. I discovered some evidence where a lawyer in New Mexico appeared to be stealing money, embezzling money from I guess it would be state funds, and that lawyer is linked to, he's my court-appointed attorney, or at least he was supposed to be. And the situation that I last briefed you on was I was trying to, in investigating this, I was calling the administrative office of the courts in New Mexico, and the ladies were obstructing me, roadblocking me. They wouldn't answer my phone calls. They wouldn't return my messages, just being flat out blocked, shut down. And so I kept calling, and here's a kind of a funny part. I was on my last phone message to them on a Friday at the end of last week, I guess it was. I hung up, and I kicked myself because I forgot to say I was going to add in something a little bit to what I thought was funny, and I was going to say, in leaving my voicemail for these ladies, I was also going to add hi Pete, hi Charlie, hi Ted. And that was a little bit of an inside joke to me because I figured that their next step would be that they would call one of those three people, Charlie being the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court here in New Mexico, Ted being the Chief of Security at the Supreme Court, and Pete being the Chief of Police for the New Mexico State Police. And sure enough, and I forgot to leave that on there, so I was going to do it on Monday when I started calling them again. But before I started calling on Monday, my phone rang, and I pick it up, and guy goes, "Hey Dave, this is Ted," and it was like I said, the dude, the Chief of Security at the Supreme Court in New Mexico. And so I told him about what I just told you, and he laughed, and he asked me, these ladies, someone over there at the AOC had called the state police, so I got that, I nailed that one too, and the state police had called Ted at the Supreme Court security, and so Ted was calling me, and I happen to know him fairly well.
So why did they call the police?
Yeah, did this lawyer steal money or not?
It looks like yes, and I was going to get to the evidence, the further evidence that I found, but
we're not a court of law, so we can't convict the guy. So just what's really? So why did the court call the state police?
Well, that's one of the points, is they call the state police because I'm a citizen trying to contact them, to call them on the phone to get information, and they don't like that. They were trying to shut me down, so they called the state police to try to get me to stop calling. In fact, they were trying to get the state police to arrest me on telephone harassment.
Well, let me ask this question. How many times did you call them?
In a nutshell, the history was that I called them at the direction of one of the judges in my case. The judge's office directed me to call them, so I did.
Right. So did you call at 8:45 and then again at 8:15 or 9:15 and then 10:30 and 11:45? So how frequently did you call?
Here, I was getting to that. It's progression. So I called once at the direction of the judge's office. In other words, it wasn't my idea to call them. The judge's office told me to call them because that's where I had to call to get information. I left. Well, first of all, I got their numbers by going to the AOC website, and I called. There was like 3 or 4 numbers published. I called one, no answer. I called the next one, no answer. I called the next one, no answer. I left voicemails at all of those numbers, but I got no live answer, and I got no call back. I finally found one guy who answered his phone at the court there. He was just a computer tech guy, and he gave me a couple more numbers to try. So I tried those, and nobody answered, and I left messages, and nobody called me back. And nobody called me back literally for over a month. And so then I started
So after you left, hold on. So after you left the initial voicemail on like 5 or 6 telephone numbers, did you call those numbers again and just repeatedly leave voicemails over the period of a month?
No, I didn't do any calling whatsoever until once again the judge's at the judge's direction, the judge's office direction. Several months later, I tried again to get a hold of somebody because I still needed this information, and so I tried again and did the same thing. I called and no answer on any line, and nobody ever returned my phone call.
Did you ask the judge for the telephone number that you should call?
Yes, I did actually, and he said talking to the judge's assistant. You don't talk to the judge himself, but I asked him, and he said, "No, I don't have that. You'll have to look it up." And so I looked it up.
So state police get called. They call you, and did they say you're going to be charged with something? Have you been charged with something?
No, I haven't, because here's how that went down: is the state police, they didn't call me. They called the security over at the Supreme Court, and the chief of security he says to the state police, he says, "Oh, I know Dave. I'll give him a call." And so the chief of security told me that the state police were trying to decide what they could do about it, if anything, and the state police said all that we can really think of is to try to charge him with telephone harassment. That's one statute that's on the books in the state of New Mexico. But between the two of them, they decided that really wouldn't work because I really wasn't harassing them. I was legitimately trying to get a hold of them, and they were obstructing me, and so that their odds of success at getting me on anything would be rather slim. So Ted, the chief of security, Ted, he was trying to remedy the situation just by giving me a phone call and finding out what's up. So
did he give you the info you were looking for?
They continued to obstruct me, but here's the funny thing: is that I talked to the chief of security for about half hour, 40 minutes or so, and he's all pissed off at what they were doing to me. So what he did is he goes, "I'll walk over there right now, Dave, and I'll talk to him." And he didn't go over there and chew him or anything.
Did you get the info or not? Yes or no?
Yeah, the bottom line is, yeah. After he simply they obstructed me for months.
Thank you for the call, David. This is Free Talk Live. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. And please try to get to the point.
With nearly 70 years of history engineering bunkers, today, Atlas Survival Shelters is still the authority. Atlas offers 18 different choices, from commercial tornado shelters to underground nuclear fallout shelters, starting at just $99.99 with 100% financing available. Comfortable interiors and state-of-the-art air filtration systems. Atlas Survival Shelters are the most popular private survival shelters in the world. Call 1-855-4BUNKER now or visit atlassurvivalshelters.com.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to creditsuccesssecretsrevealed.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Mark.
And we started off talking about the story about the Eagle Scout, or the Boy Scout that was going through Eagle Scout training. And then we got diverted. We brought up the topic of Eagle Scouts very briefly when someone called in to give us a little bit more info on what the citizenship in the community and citizenship in the nation badges were. And I pulled up some info on the citizenship in the world merit badge. Apparently it was created in 1972. And the requirements, I'm not going to read the full list, but it explains what citizenship in the world means, or rather the scout must explain what citizenship in the world means to them and what they think it takes to be a good world citizen, explain how one becomes a citizen in the United States, and explains the rights, duties, and obligations of a U.S. citizen.
We have duties?
Apparently. There was the one guy earlier that said if you get charged with a crime and they want to reduce it, it's your duty to wind up snitching on others. And then pick a current world event and explain how that winds up affecting your country's national interest in relation with other countries. And there's a fairly lengthy list of things that people must do in order to get that citizenship in the world merit badge. And one of them is attend a World Scout Jamboree. And those things happen very infrequently. So let's actually jump into this article a little bit more. And we barely scratched the surface. So you might want to just,
there's nothing.
Start over.
Right. Kid's 15. His name's Reed Komita. He went on a hike. He was trying to become a, Eagle Scout, and he needed his.
And hiking is one of the badges that you can earn. There are over 130 available merit badges. Eagle Scouts need to get at least 21 of them, and one of them comes from a choice of cycling, hiking, and swimming. Now, you could get all three of those, but that does not necessarily count towards the total of one from these three. You could get all three, but it still only counts as one.
Best I can tell, this backpacking badge requires you to go on a 5-day hike.
Okay,
that's serious business.
Yeah.
But it only has to be 30 miles.
I've done camping for 5 days, but never a 5-day hike.
Yeah, well, camping for 5 days, if you're talking about a campground where they've got potties and running water and a place to plug in your cell phone.
Oh, I'm in no way comparing camping at Rogers Campground to hiking for 5 days.
Right.
I'm just saying that's the closest I've come to hiking for 5 days.
You better bring a little cell panel or a little solar panel to charge your cell phone.
You need several solar panels to charge your cell phone.
So anyway, this is a 30 miles, which means I presume you can go 15 miles out and 15 miles back over the course of 5 days.
Or do a triangle 10 miles one way turn, assuming it's an isosceles.
I don't know if the trails are necessarily going to work out for you, but it's certainly a possibility. You got to plan this out and be versed in first aid and a variety.
I'm just saying it doesn't have to be a straight out and back. It could be some kind of loop sort of thing.
Indeed.
In theory.
Sure.
So 30 miles over 5 days, and you've got to camp in at least 3 different spots.
I believe that's the case. Yep.
All right.
And so that means you could stay and fish one day at a place or whatever it might be. So anyway, he instead opted for apparently some intro to backpacking course.
Generally good if you're going to go on a 5-day hike to have an introduction to backpacking.
I suppose. To me, I hike on a pretty regular basis. I call them going for a walk.
Right, but you're also not taking a tent with you and
Is that what determines a hike?
If you're going for 5 days, you want to have a tent with you.
Oh, yeah, you should. Is that what determines a hike? Is you need to have a tent?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying if you're going out for 5 days, you want a tent. You're not going on hikes where you're camping overnight with a tent.
Generally not. Anyway, what happened was, sadly, the young man collapsed and died from heat stroke while on a hike. And
this was, I think we glossed over, this was in Texas.
That was in Texas. I'll get to all that.
Yep.
His parents, obviously, are as distraught as any parents would be. It's just that I feel that there's some modern aspects coming in and crushing in on Eagle Scoutdom that are kind of bothering me.
All right.
Obviously, parents are upset. He's probably not the first person to die in scouting. And, that's kind of one of the things. Being an Eagle Scout is, there's a high level of respect that goes with being an Eagle Scout. One of the reasons there's a high level of respect is people say, I don't know if I could do that. Well, if people are asking themselves if they could do that or not, then some people couldn't do it. And I guess, sadly, whether, luck or whatever physical shape he was in, I'm not entirely sure, but young Reed just, I don't know if it was luck. I don't know what it was, but he died. I had heat frustration one point. I know that's very unpleasant, and these heat-related illnesses can happen to anybody. They can be in the best physical condition, but, they happen, and it's just something that happens. Anyway, the parents say that the Boy Scouts of America are responsible for their son's death. It's that simple. And they go on to say, basically, obviously, they're talking about how distraught they are and all that stuff, and that makes perfectly good sense. But that Reed did not sign up for the extreme aggressive hike on the day where temperatures neared 100 degrees. We're talking about Texas here.
Yep.
In summertime, temperatures near 100 degrees. I grew up in Florida.
I grew up in Alabama, moved to New Hampshire from San Antonio,
Right.
where near 100 could also mean 105.
Well, I don't know what neared 100 means less than 100 degrees. So 95, 96, 97, 98 degrees, probably quite sunny.
Yeah,
sun
I'm
bearing
just
down.
thinking again in this mind of if you're rounding, 103 would be rounded to 100. It's near 100.
That's not the way we
but
use the
generally,
language. Yeah.
Generally, they would say over 100
That's what they would
then,
say.
but this probably, I would say at least 95. Heat index of who knows how much.
There were 3 young men on the hike. One of them was 18. Reed was 15, and then a younger kid who was 14. And apparently, at some point, he succumbed to some kind of heat frustration. They attempted to, help him in whatever condition they could. Obviously, an ambulance couldn't get out there. They did CPR on him for quite some time.
Now, heat frustration, this is a new term for me.
There's heat exhaustion, heat frustration. There's different aspects of sort of heat-related illnesses. And heat frustration's a very low level. That's what I experienced at one point when, for whatever reason, I got too hot.
Okay, I had always heard that as just overheating.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, so the term, it's a new one for me, and I'm guessing it's new for a bunch of people as well.
Yeah, dizziness. Oftentimes, it's a good idea to get some sugar water.
Yep.
Soda, whatever it might be, something flat. So maybe fruit punch,
Gatorade.
Yeah, that's
got your electrolytes.
Yep.
That's what plants crave.
Indeed, they do. And what my concern here is are the Boy Scouts going to be legislated and ruled against to the point that they simply become nothing special at all? Because an Eagle Scout is something special. And part of what determines being special is it's exclusive, right? And exclusive, by its definition, means people are excluded.
So everybody that has not gotten at least 21 merit badges is excluded.
Right. Well, in this case, Reed was given the rank of Eagle Scout posthumously.
Okay.
But and I think that's a fine thing for the Boy Scouts of America to have done. I guess, is America becoming so stinking soft that we simply won't be able to go into the future? That's what my concern is.
And let's talk about that and your calls and thoughts. Welcome, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com. Imagine, if you will, a virtual world, a symbiotic economy with its own currency, where you can barter your services with others. Symbi.com is a marketplace of real people, exchanging skills and services. From web developers, marketers, video production specialists, and teachers of all sorts, to gaming consulting or fitness coaching. Symbi.com is a vast world of people trading freely. Take my word for it, it's an adventure you can't afford to miss. Simbi.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
North Korea openly threatens the U.S. and launches a new missile every other week. Their warhead of choice? Electromagnetic pulse. Such an event would cripple the U.S. power grid for years and leave millions in the dark. Are you ready? You can be with a Solarc EMP-hardened solar generator. Solarc works day in and day out to keep your essentials protected. You can have peace of mind knowing your power will be there when you most need it. Visit PortableSolarLLC.com to see EMP testing. That's PortableSolarLLC.com. Energy insurance for your family.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're discussing the Eagle Scouts, specifically because there was a lawsuit filed by the parents of a 15-year-old boy who died while attempting to get one of the merit badges to qualify for the Eagle Scouts. And Mark, you had asked the question, and correct me if my sort of paraphrase of your question is too far off base. You asked the question essentially of, are we going in the direction to where the Boy Scouts will be so legislated that being an Eagle Scout is meaningless?
Yeah, that question, and a bit further is that I believe that there's these wussification of America that's going on. I believe that our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers were hardier folks than we are today, and I don't think that that's particularly good for a community, a nation, a people, or whatever terminology there is, and that the greatest among our young people, I'm told, I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but I'm told this is the greatest among us are these Eagle Scouts. And if the Eagle Scouts basically, sorry, you can't go on a 5-day hike, over 30 miles, it's just too much for these people. What good is the backpacking badge if the kids can't handle it.
All right, so what if they shorten it down to 4 days and 20 miles? And we'll discuss this a little more in depth, plus your calls and thoughts.
So if you're on the internet, you've likely seen an incredible amount of innovation in clothing and backpacks. There's all kinds of things out there, ads for imagined products that propose to solve different problems, some of them minor, some of them life-saving. But do they stop bullets? I recently got a jacket from bulletblocker.com. It's a company founded by a former Army Ranger and a firearms instructor with the goal of making backpacks for kids who, might be in school shootings, protect them and that sort of thing. Now, they've developed this into a huge selection of backpacks and briefcases and clothing, jackets and coats and that sort of thing, and they could save your life. The products are attractive. They're made of the lightest and most flexible ballistic available in the market today. They're airport security friendly, and you've got to have a nice jacket. You might as well have one that stops bullets too. Get something for the whole family. This isn't the kind of thing you get a second chance at. Bulletblocker.com. If the lives in your family are priceless, protect them at bulletblocker.com. Now, I'd give you this warning. It takes them a little while to put a garment together because they're all sort of put together as ordered. So order now. Be ready for when it starts getting cold. Bulletblocker.com.
And let's go to the phones. We've got Fred calling in from Indianapolis, listening to WIBC. Fred, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl and Mark. Go ahead with your thoughts.
First of all, I would like to say love your show. Secondly, my cousin actually was telling me about the Boy Scouts, and they offer a lot for young men to step into manhood. They deal with business plans, accounting, of course, the camping and all of that. Unfortunately, though, for our society, I think that we're not teaching children our kids some basic things about respecting nature and things of that. We've gotten such in a place of electronics and gadgets and just things that are, how can I say, we've gotten spoiled with things just being there instead of, just
instant
really
gratification.
Yes. And to use common sense. Take enough water. Learn how, before you go in that and know how to find water, know what the body does. When I was a kid, actually in Alabama, though I wasn't raised there, when we would walk the cotton fields, our parents made sure that we were hydrated even if we were out there all day. So it was like, hey, and we were talking like 6 and 7, just walking around from field to field. And we didn't go no 30 miles, but, you
might be surprised.
Yeah, just running around in rural Alabama, So I'm just, and everybody wants their kid to be able to get a badge or a reward for not really being ready for that. It comes out studying martial arts, and it's like, okay, just because Johnny participates, he gets another belt, and it's like, no, if he didn't earn that belt and the requirements that it takes to get that belt, we have to stop this just babyfying and we need some stronger, especially men. So that's my comment. But the Boy Scouts do some great things for our nation. My cousin was just telling me, hey, it's God and country. And he actually is one of the first African Americans that has received the rank that he has done.
What's the rank?
One of the first. You know what? He told me what it was, but
okay.
I don't.
There's a rank above Eagle Scout? I just don't know.
No, I'm talking about as far as administrator. Even within the Boy Scouts itself, as far as the administration goes. Matter of fact, he actually said that one of the vice presidents was ex-CIA. So he said, you'd be surprised at who's in and who has come through the Boy Scouts. And I just found this out just a week ago.
Yeah, what this makes me think of is this is a problem that Mongol's the word that comes to mind, but people call them the Huns, the Saracens, the Asian steppe people who are constantly trying to take over the Chinese and ancient, in the past. They'd take over some city or whatever, and one of the problems they had was these are rough barbarian types. They'd get in, they'd take over, they'd figure out some way or another to administrate the city. And then their children and their children's children would be completely unqualified to rule, and they would lose rulers, like the city over time, and then they'd end up going back. They developed a system for maintaining better conquerors. That's basically what it required to rule a city at that point was, the point of the spear. And the way they did it was they'd rule, but they'd send their kids back to the be taken care of by Ugg and Tharg out there on the plains drinking fermented mare's milk or whatever the hell they were doing out there, and they would come back with these crappy childhood was what we'd call it, but they're tough, and then that's how they were able to develop into this force that was able to sweep across half the globe.
Right, and to some extent, and Fred, thank you for the call. To some extent, I see this sort of thing to where every generation wants their children to have things better than they had it.
Sure.
And that does, to some extent, lead to, we're going to add more padding to this, and, car seat. I don't ever remember sitting in a car seat. Now it's the law in a bunch of places. You've got to be in a car seat until you're 12 years old or 4'12", whichever comes first. I know full-grown women that are like 4'9", but they're not sitting in car seats. But, it's this sort of thing to where you soften everything up, but at the same time, when you soften things, people still want to wind up, like taking risk. Or let's take football, for example, to where 100 years ago, put a leather strap on your head, call that a helmet. Same thing, the guys that play rugby, if they wear a helmet, it's just a leather strap. But you see fewer serious injuries in rugby because they're not taking the unnecessary risk that you see happening in football, to where football, I've got all of these pads. I will just launch myself as a projectile towards this other person.
I don't know what rugby...
And that's where you get all of these concussions, you get broken necks, you get, collapsed collarbones, things of that sort.
I don't know about rugby, and I don't know what the kind of paychecks are that they get at rugby, but I'm just guessing that they're probably a tenth of what they're getting from the NFL.
I'm not even talking about professional football or professional rugby. I'm talking amateur football players. So high school, college. There are a lot of injuries in high school and college football. There are nowhere near as many injuries of that same level of athlete playing rugby because they're not taking unnecessary risk. Because they don't have the false safety of padding.
I hear you. I'm against tackle football generally. So, I'm one of those people that I just don't see the point in it.
Right. And I played football in high school. And I've also recently, as a lot of people have, seen the studies on CTE. And that's something that has really gotten me thinking about, there's a lot of false safety with football to where people think, I've got this helmet and these pads and I can just launch myself. And you're not going to solve the problem of children getting concussions by banning football or, just throwing more padding on it. I don't know what the solution is, but would love your calls and thoughts. Plus, we can talk about Eagle Scouts because that's how we started on this. Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Have you wanted to get into Bitcoin mining but don't want to deal with the hassle and frustration of operating the mining hardware? Let pool.bitcoin.com handle it for you like I did. Just visit pool.bitcoin.com and use their calculator to estimate what you could end up making. You get to decide which Bitcoin you want to mine. If you already have mining equipment, you're invited to join pool.bitcoin.com. Get all the details and get started mining Bitcoin at pool.bitcoin.com.
Do you want to help build a better financial system for everyone? Join Dash. Dash is Digital Cash, a digital money platform designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy. Fees are low and transactions are confirmed instantly. Dash is decentralized, run by users who earn rewards for helping run the network and make governance decisions. Help people take control over their financial future today. Find out more at dash.org.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveAtPurse.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 16th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.59 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,320 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,873. Antiwar.com reports a new poll from Gallup shows that a majority of Americans, 58%, are in favor of attacking North Korea militarily if the U.S. cannot accomplish its goal by more peaceful means first. Americans were split more or less evenly on whether sanctions and diplomacy could work. This is the first time since 2003 that Gallup has asked about attacking North Korea. At that time, only 47% favored an attack. The shift in the last 14 years appears to have been greatly along political lines, with an overwhelming 82% of Republicans now backing war, compared to just 37% of Democrats. The possibility of such an attack has been discussed a lot more this year than any time in decades. Repeated North Korean tests have been presented as a growing threat to the U.S. mainland, with the Trump administration declaring diplomacy a failure from the start. Despite so much talk of imminent war and a shift toward support for military aggression, the poll also showed a majority of Americans don't think a U.S. attack would be happening in the next 6 months, suggesting that most believe something short of a war is going to be given considerable additional time. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Department of Justice will not be permitted to withhold federal grant funds from cities that refuse to assist federal immigration officials to pursue suspected undocumented immigrants, according to a federal judge on Friday. U.S. District Judge Harry D. Leinenweber in Illinois said in a 41-page ruling that Attorney General Jeff Sessions likely overstepped his authority in efforts to urge sanctuary cities to give federal agents access to jails or tip them off when a suspected undocumented immigrant is scheduled for release. The policy to withhold federal funding was rooted in an executive order signed by President Donald Trump in January, declaring sanctuary cities would not be eligible for federal grants, which Sessions has been working to enforce ever since. In July, Sessions added new requirements for local law enforcement, specifically requiring access to jails and information on suspected undocumented immigrants 48 hours before their release from jail in order to be eligible for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. The lawsuit was filed by Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel in early August in response to the new requirements. Chicago officials said 37 municipal and county governments also filed briefs in support of their suit. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports hundreds of protesters poured into St. Louis streets on Friday and some scuffles erupted after a Missouri judge acquitted a former police officer of murder. With the National Guard on standby in case of violence, authorities appealed to demonstrators to remain peaceful as they protested the outcome of a case reminiscent of circumstances that spawned racially charged unrest in nearby Ferguson and gave rise to the Black Lives Matter movement in 2014. Police said several protesters threw rocks and water bottles, while video footage and eyewitnesses witnessed police officers dousing at least 5 people with pepper spray about a block from the courthouse. As of Friday night, police reported making 13 arrests and said 4 officers had been assaulted. One group of demonstrators tried to enter Interstate 40, but were blocked by police officers in riot gear. Former St. Louis police officer Jason Stockley was found not guilty of first-degree murder in the shooting death of Anthony Lamar Smith 5 weeks after the end of a non-jury trial. Stockley said Smith fled in his car when the officer tried to arrest him on drug charges. Defense attorney said Stockley believes Smith was armed. A gun was found in the car, though prosecutors argued Stockley planted the weapon and that the gun only had Stockley's DNA on it. Stockley and his partner shot Smith 5 times while he was in his car. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A new report released this week has found that nearly 3/4 of sleepaway campers' parents are currently using their children's time away from home to take the first steps towards filing for divorce.
With 46% of campers' moms currently staying with their sisters while they try to figure it out, and 38% of campers' dads sleeping on the living room couch and staring at the ceiling for hours before falling asleep.
Most campers are, at this precise moment, wholly unaware that their fathers are looking for temporary sublets and are experiencing a level of carefree, joyful buoyancy that experts say they will never feel again.
The majority of campers currently have, on average, 16 days until their lives come crashing down around them, at which point their parents will pick them up from camp, drive them to a restaurant, and then break the news that while they'll always be a family, they won't be living together anymore.
I love camp this year. It's so much fun. Mom sent me so many care packages. Dad even sent one. It's awesome.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Kicking off our number 3 of this live Saturday night edition in studio. It's Darryl.
And Mark.
And let's go back to the phones. We're talking about Eagle Scouts and the softening of children. And Mark, you had asked a question about whether or not the lawsuit here out of Texas where a family that tragically lost their 15-year-old son, they wound up suing the camp where the son died. And
it's a Boy Scout affiliated camp.
Your question is, will this lawsuit and other similar sort of suits wind up making Eagle Scout just a completely meaningless rank of Boy Scouts?
That's kind of my concern, yeah.
And we've got Christina calling in from Indianapolis. Christina, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, my thought on this is I am a parent, and parents are ultimately the ones responsible for their children. This child would never have went on this hike if the parents didn't give permission because he's a minor. And so I don't see where it's the responsibility. I mean, I don't feel they have a right to sue the Boy Scouts of America. And we should not lower the standards at all to earn the rank of an Eagle Scout, because that is a very exclusive rank to earn, and you have to earn it. And, I mean, that's just it. I mean, that's like trying to say women can go in and be Navy SEALs. I'm sorry. There's certain criteria that have to be met, and women were not created to be the same thing as a man.
Well, I think that if they can meet the criteria, they should be allowed, right? Like, I don't think that the possession of a uterus shouldn't exclude you. However,
but don't lower the standard of what's expected to reach that rank, whether it's an Eagle Scout or a Navy SEAL or whatever you may be, because, I mean, that's like saying, oh, I want to go be a surgeon, but I don't quite meet the criteria, but I still want to be a surgeon. No, I don't think that's what qualifies you just because you want to be it. You have to earn it.
Let me play devil's advocate here and ask the question. They have over 130 different merit badges available. Eagle Scout needs to collect at least 21, and then there are specific ones that
there's core requirements.
Core requirements, and then here's all the other electives, and out of these you need at least something from this, and then the rest just pick whatever. So what if they only removed camping and hiking?
No. I think that to be a well-rounded scout requires all of those different abilities to be able to survive in certain situations and certain things. I mean, I don't think they should change the criteria of it just to accommodate snowflakes who are used to sitting in their house and playing games.
Right, and this is, I agree 100%. I looked at this backpacking badge, and I guess I have this mental picture of what an Eagle Scout is, and my mental picture includes a young person, male or female, I don't particularly care, a young person who can go on a 5-day hike for 30 miles with 3 different camping locations on that 5-day. Yeah, that's a good hike, man. That's an exciting adventure that everybody you can talk about that little adventure for the rest of your life, especially if something fun happens on it. Just tell everybody you saw Bigfoot. And I mean, it'll be great, but I think that should be a requirement to be an Eagle Scout.
All right, so what about shortening the hike from 5 days, 30 miles to 4 days, 20 miles?
Why do you want to shorten it?
No. I don't think so. Because
I'm just throwing out questions.
So. No, I think there's a criteria. Somebody put the criteria in place. I see no particular reason to shorten it.
So if the criteria was that every other Eagle Scout gets to punch you in the face, well, that's the criteria. That's the way it's always been.
No, okay, look, I'm not qualified to give you the rules on what make a person an Eagle Scout. But looking at these rules, I'm fine with them the way they are. Now, if you want to make a higher rank of Eagle Scout Elite, that can go for 10 days and gone, whatever it might be, then I'm fine with that too. But to lower the standard, why are you lowering the standard? If you're lowering the standard because a young man who was, I can look at a picture here, not in peak physical condition, happened to get heat exhaustion and die.
All right, so maybe we add a weight limit for who's eligible to be an Eagle Scout. And then you don't have to worry about situations of this kid couldn't handle the hike.
Some chubsters can hike all day long, and I do hike on the regular. You lost a lot of weight, a lot of weight, man. You lost more than you, didn't you?
Not quite 50, about 45% body weight from 317 down to about 172 right now.
You lost a 14-year-old, and it's.
Be careful how you say that on this show.
No, I think everything's fine with Eagle Scouts.
Christina, any final thoughts?
Well, I really think that the standards should stay the same, because if anyone doesn't agree with what the goals are that are set forth, they don't have to participate in the program. So don't lower the standards. Keep it the way it is. And if you can obtain it, then you have the right to have that title.
Christina, good call. Thanks for calling in. Let's go. Also, somebody listening to WIBC, but not in Indianapolis, down in Columbus, we've got John calling in. John, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, I think a lot has to do with even down to our schools. I mean, I remember growing up here in Indiana, and we had some horrible winters and we had some good winters. And even in the horrible winters, if it was excessive amount of snow, we still went to school. But, I mean, if there was times, they still canceled it. But now, if there's so much as a light dust of snow, they will cancel school. If it gets too cold, they will cancel school. And I mean, I'm a father of four boys, and I don't know how many times, that there's hardly any snow out on the ground at all whatsoever. The school's canceled because of snow. Now, what's going to happen when they turn 18, they graduate, and they have to go out to the real world and get a real job, and that real job expects them to be at work even if there's a light dusting. They've gone their whole, school year life of, oh, well, I'm going to stay at home. Well, all of a sudden now they do have to go out. They have to do, they have to be an adult, and they're not used to this.
Well, I would say with the snow, if I was putting myself in the shoes of a school administrator, I'd say to myself, you've got, 100 kids on a school bus? I don't really know. Let's say the 100 chances for every school bus that's on a road of getting lawsuits if a driver loses control of that thing is just not worth the having school that day. It's the providing the mandatory transport to school, I think, is what the problem is.
Well, the compulsory education is also part of the problem of it. You must send your children to school.
It's not really compulsory. I mean, like my son doesn't go to school, and it's not.
But
no one
New
cares.
Hampshire also has fairly lax homeschool laws.
Right, because things have changed. There's no longer are we at the days of the little rascals when the truant officer chases around a unlikely group of scamps.
Not in New Hampshire, at least, but it does happen in other places because I've read the news stories about it.
I haven't seen one.
John, thank you for the call. Let's go to Ricky calling in from Pennsylvania. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
To anyone listening, I am making you aware of my rights according to sections 1, 7, and 20 pursuant to 25 and 26 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, 1968, Article I.
All right. Thank you for letting us know about your rights pursuant to all of those things in the Pennsylvania Constitution. Let's go to, well, nope, not
You're
going
cruel.
to go to Stefan, but your calls and thoughts are welcome about rights, Eagle Scouts, anything else, the litigious society that we live in, and I think that has a lot to do with all of this. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Bad breath and bad gas. Petey stopped eating. All his hair fell out.
Itching, licking, missing fur.
At least $5,000 in vet bill. Creams, antibiotics, sprays.
No results.
Everything we tried failed except the Dinovite. DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids. Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa. The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The shedding is stopped and the itching is stopped.
Her coat is now soft, it's silky, it's healthy and shiny and glossy.
She's got life. She's got energy.
Tons of energy, no more bad smell.
Dinovite's the bomb.
Dinovite is the best thing that's ever happened to my dogs, besides me, of course.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
Dinovite for life.
DINOVITE.com.
BuySellMakeOffer.com is better than ever. I'm Pat Matthews here to tell you that BuySellMakeOffer.com, the revolutionary site for buying and selling anything and everything, just upped the ante. Go right now to BuySellMakeOffer.com and click the Sign Me Up button. When you do, you'll get the first month free, and then it's just $9.95 a month to be a member forever. And you don't need a credit card for the initial setup. Create your own store on the site and sell whatever you want, as long as it's legal, however you want, and sell an unlimited number of items. Create your own intro video to describe what your store is all about. Use Skype to see who you're buying from or selling to. Sell unused household items, as well as antiques, cars, televisions, collectibles, real estate. The possibilities are unlimited. Use social networks to promote your store right from our site. Remember, there are never any fees no matter how much you sell. Become a member today. I'm a member. Get all your friends to sign up too. This could become a great business for you. Sell whatever you want for the first 30 days free at BuySellMakeOffer.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active. to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Mark.
And we've been talking about Eagle Scouts and the wussification of children and the litigious world that we live in. We'll get back to that, plus your calls and thoughts. Welcome, 855-450-FREE.
There's been a lot of talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies going on in America right now, and one might wonder to oneself, why would I get involved in cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin? I have an answer for you. SaveAtPurse.com. SaveAtPurse.com is a website where you can sort of work with other people basically to get 25% off on up to 25% off on Amazon purchases. Darryl, you do this on a regular?
I do this on a regular basis and regularly get between 19 to 23%. No problems.
And it all you have to do basically is have some cryptocurrency, or you can get some at SaveAtPurse.com, and start saving money. You can get anything you need at Amazon.
And let's say that you only want to save 5%. Only 5%. You can still do that using the Purse Instant Buy.
Right.
And there are some things that aren't eligible for the higher savings, so things that are fulfilled by, say, a third party that you can't wind up doing the proper way of put in the Amazon wish list and import that. You can still save 5%. And I do that fairly frequently as well.
Go to SaveAtPurse.com. Sign up right now. SaveAtPurse.com. That's SaveAtPurse.com.
Let's go back to the phones, actually to Skype, where we've got Stefan calling in from Ohio. Stefan, thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
I'd like to talk about hurricane relief, but first I'm going to make a comment on, what you guys have been talking about with the so-called wussification of America. And I think that only goes so far, because there are things where people are legitimately put under stress and they shouldn't be, told, oh, you're just being a wussy over it.
Right. And me and Mark were actually having a conversation during the top of the hour where I was telling him about a book that I'm looking forward to that's coming out soon called The Mask of Masculinity, where the author of the book, he's talked about it on his podcast a good bit, where he's talked about some of the masks that men wear specifically around emotions, to where I think I can speak for me and Mark. Stefan, not sure if you had this similar sort of thing to where as a kid you fall down, you scrape your knee, and some grown-up comes over and says, quit crying or I'll give you something to cry about. And so you start repressing your emotions. And then when you grow up to try to be a fully functioning human, you wind up, not really knowing how to connect with your emotions and have, meaningful relationships with other people. And so then you put on masks, and there's kind of this weird pendulum backlash sort of thing of you're told you need to be a man. Men don't cry. And so then you just stuff all of your emotions down, and then, you sort of overcompensate. And then, hey, wait a second, like you're being too manly. Oh, so this is the wussification of America where I'm told that I can't be a man anymore.
That just makes people suicidal, in my opinion, if they have to bottle up their emotions and not express them ever because, men don't cry. I think that is ridiculous.
Right.
However,
So continue with your thoughts.
I was going to talk about hurricane relief, actually. As you know, Donald Trump had actually, assigned funds to, subset the damage of the awful hurricanes that hit the southern coast.
Federal funds. You're talking about tax dollars. Like he didn't reach deep into his pockets to hand out that $7.5 billion.
Oh, no, he gave away $1 million, even though he claims to be a multi-billionaire. But
he gave away $1 million more than I did. I've donated some money. It's not a lot, but I have donated some money to hurricane relief.
Well, do you think that this problem of cleaning up can be fixed only with the private sector, or do you think that maybe government should step in if it has the ability to?
Absolutely, this should be done private sector. I should give this the caveat that I am a Florida native. I was born and spent my probably first 35 years of my life in Florida. And look, the news media loves to find the worst devastation and trot that out for their Yankee viewership. And Yankees feel about hurricanes the way they feel about alligators. They're terrified of them. But a hurricane's a big thunderstorm that has, usually some really bad aspects that go along with it.
Flooding is generally the worst aspect.
Flooding's the worst aspect, and the federal flood insurance that allows people to build on these barrier islands, to build giant mansions on things that are intended to protect from tidal surges.
Yep. I don't understand that.
Absolutely ridiculous. That's the first and foremost area. But other people are affected by this stuff too. No doubt, there's flooding and that kind of thing, and there'll be ways to for the private sector will come up with ways for people to bounce back. And my wife went.
And the private sector would not subsidize people living on islands that were not intended to be habitable islands.
Yeah, that's the first thing. My wife went down there to help her parents get ready. Rode out the storm in Sarasota, Florida. Now, it didn't get hit the way that it was going to. The storm jagged to the right, what is that? There's got to be a joke there about University of Florida State University and wide to the right. But anyway,
too soon.
She went too soon. It was painful. I lost several $100s in that game, on those games, and
I lost a bet and had to ask out a high school English teacher. And not the
win.
Attractive English teacher either.
You win. So
she said no, by the way.
Thank goodness. But anyway, people can handle this. The vast majority of people don't need too much. They don't need any help at all. The government, where my wife is right now, loosened the rules on trash pickup, and that's all people need.
What I'd like to know is why this. People have called me, a jerk for saying something like this, but I think anybody who builds a coastal property or buys one knowing it's going to get destroyed within the next 40 to 50 years, I think that's just making a terrible decision. And you shouldn't be surprised when your property gets destroyed by a hurricane.
Yeah, that decision's subsidized by American taxpayers of all stripes,
Well,
and
they know
that's
it's
what's
going
wrong
to be
about it.
replaced. They know it's going to be replaced. They know
Right.
that the state is going to replace your property either way. And it's not like, you or me could afford one of these coastal properties. I mean, not making assumptions. I'm just saying, like, it's usually eccentric millionaires and billionaires that have these properties. And it seems to me like they could afford to fix them anyway. So why are the people on the bottom being forced to pay for their properties when they get destroyed?
It's just like some of the farm subsidies to where Ted Turner, who's a billionaire, winds up getting tens of millions of dollars every year in federal farm subsidies because he owns a bunch of land in Montana.
But hey, Darryl, farmers are the cornerstone of America. You can't say things like that.
Yes, they are, and the farm subsidies have actually wound up centralizing the production of food. They've caused these big mega farms to prop up because the small mom and pop farmer, they can't compete. Stefan, thank you for the call, your calls and thoughts. Welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat? Not true. Actually, you are what you can absorb. So if the vitamins and supplements you now take are not being absorbed, what good are they? Introducing Protovite, proprietary liquid system that allows premium quality nutrients to positively affect the blood in an astonishing 5 minutes. Watch our amazing 2-minute live blood cell video at TrueHealthFacts.com. That's TrueHealthFacts.com. Then call 502-410-3411. Protovite is nutrition you can feel. Protovite is nutrition that gets in.
You want to save money in a place that gives you growth, control, and certainty without stock market risk or tax risk, and you want guarantees and you want it all tax-free. That's a tall order. But you can get all of that with properly designed participating whole life insurance. Most people think life insurance pays after you're dead. That's true. But you can have tax-free access to use your life insurance while you're alive. Get the free book to find out how. Call 702-660-7000.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And yeah, we're live on a Saturday. I know, it's really, really strange. You don't really hear that very often unless they're talking about sports. And I know that it's football season, and I'm missing the Alabama football game right now, but I'll catch a score later.
Is that Roll Tide?
That is Roll Tide, yes. Good job, Mark. And also,
I like saying
the whole
that. It's
wide right thing.
It's a fun little. I don't, being from Florida, I don't like you rednecks up in Georgia and Alabama. But the whole Roll Tide. That's a fun little saying.
Yeah, it is. Especially when there's 80,000 plus people all saying it at the beginning of the game before the kickoff. Really, really fun. So you can join us, again, toll-free, 855-450-FREE. And if you like the show and you want to help us reach out to more radio stations, get on more radio stations across the country, we're already on about 170 coast to coast, but you can actually help us out by joining the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and for as little as $5 a month, you can join the AMP program, get perks like ad-free podcast.
Yep.
AMP call-in line,
Facebook group.
Yep, Facebook group, and other special things that only the amplifiers get. amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go back to the phones. We've got John calling in from Michigan, listening to WSJM. John, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl and Mark. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, I'd like to talk about the Eagle Scout program and the discussion that's going on with that.
Yep, go ahead. You're on the radio right now, so go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, the program is a character development and leadership development program, and it's focused on citizenship and other elements of development that will help the boys be successful in life. And any scout can become Eagle if they stick with it and they put forth the effort, even if they have physical handicaps that prevent them from completing elements of the program. I'm a former scout leader. My son's a Order of the Arrow Eagle Scout.
Is that the elite Eagle Scout?
It is.
Okay, I didn't realize there was one. Cool.
Okay, so it's Order of the Arrow, and they have additional requirements to get that designation. But basically, it's character building and leadership development, and they want to develop the individuals to the fullest potential, whatever their potential may be. So if they have physical or other handicaps that keep them from completing basic requirements or one of the 11 merit badge requirements or pieces of those can be accommodated to help the individual achieve that badge. It's not waiving the requirement. It's, if someone is an amputee, they may not be able to physically do one of the requirements.
I think that's
reviewed and considered as part of the program. What is the best and fullest development of that individual?
Now, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, obesity, is that going to be considered a...
I've hiked hundreds of miles with boys, and I've seen guys that you wouldn't think could walk down the driveway, and they can walk you into the ground. And they're big guys, and they're little guys. And I've seen scouts of all sizes and ages who can't put one foot in front of the other. So don't look at a scout and say he can or can't hike. You can't make that judgment from a photo, because I've seen some pretty big kids that were like football players that just do not stop. and they can go. And
so what do you think about this tragic incident of this young man who got some kind of heat exhaustion and passed away at a Boy Scout affiliated camp attempting to get his what appears to be his backpacking badge?
Yeah.
And do you think that?
I think it's a tragedy. Those things have happened in the Scouts before. Accidents happen.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's the first person who's died attempting to achieve something in Scouts.
He's not, but as an organization, I think the Boy Scouts of America needs to look at the individual and his progress towards Eagle, where he was on that path, and was he on a path that would allow him to complete it by his 18th birthday, which is the requirement, and is it likely that he would have done that? And then if so, you go ahead and award the badge. And I know people will disagree with that, but there's also an element of compassion here.
Well, he got the badge posthumously.
Okay. Well, the backpacking badge, and that's one of the ones my son.
Oh, he got the Eagle Scout designation posthumously. I'm sorry.
Him. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The backpacking badge was, you guys talked about that earlier. That is not one of the requirements for Eagle Scout. It's one of the badges that you can elect to do.
Right, but it sort of is.
There's a badge with my son.
There's 3 tiers, though.
The toughest. Yeah, it's the toughest badge to get on the backpacking. There's camping, hiking, backpacking, but the backpacking badge is a badge all of its own.
Yeah, I was looking at the requirements, and I guess I'm a hiker. I go out for walks in the woods, and I feel like if I didn't have a wife and a child and a full-time job and all the things that are required here, that I could pretty much walk out and do what is required for the backpacking badge in a long weekend. You need 5 days to do it, so it'd have to be that Thanksgiving Day weekend, and I'd have to work
until you strap the boots on and head down the trail and realize, as well as prepared as you think you are. And I went on the 5-day hike in the Chiricahua Mountains of southeast Arizona, and they're rugged. And I was with a commercial airline pilot who was a former Air Force aviator. We got lost.
Ruh-roh.
We had GPS, we had maps, we had compasses, we got lost. And, that's a long story, but we persevered. There were 4 of us on that hike. 5 days in the wilderness, we saw no one. And you think you can strap these things on, you boot your backpack and go, and everyone's happy. But it's that character development and developing the individual to the fullest potential, because when you're 15 miles from the car and it's the middle of the night and you can't go any further, no one's carrying you out. You get out on your own. And that's the development. That's the character building, the leadership. When it comes to getting the Eagle Scout, there are certain requirements of badge and rank and time and rank that have to be fulfilled. So anytime I see Eagle badge, someone says they have it, I ask, how old were you? Because if anyone achieves Eagle by the time they get their driver's license, that's a phenomenal feat.
Yeah.
And I've seen young men who, as young as 13, get it, and I don't know how that can be possible when you look at the time and rank requirements and the time to earn some of the merit badges. I just don't see how you could lay out a plan when the boys can't start Scouts until they're 11.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like when I hear stories of. It's like when I hear stories of somebody that graduated high school at like 12 years old and got admitted to Harvard. Yep. John, thank you for the call.
To me, I don't care if you got Eagle Scout on your 17th and 11 months birthday. If you got Eagle Scout, you're an Eagle Scout.
Right, but what he's pointing out is if somebody's able to get through it in 2 years, that's just absolutely amazing.
Agreed, but the guy gets to talk to a lot of Eagle Scout. I've met a handful of them in my life, and the vast majority of the people that reached Eagle Scout rank are among the most admirable people I've met.
Let's go to Skype. We've got Anarchy Radio calling in. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts. Are you there on Skype, Anarchy Radio?
Yep, had you guys on mute. My bad.
Okay. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Evening, gentlemen. I'm really glad that I got you, Darryl and Mark, because I really want you guys' opinion on this topic that I'm going to be talking about. But as in regards to the last one, there's inherent risk in everything people take that risk. I mean, it sounded like you guys were trying to see whether or not you thought that any regulation or, governmental violence would be meted out because of this incident with the scout, and
it probably will be.
Stuff happens.
Hold the thought. We'll be right back, and your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Dash is digital cash, a digital currency designed to replace cash and help people manage their own wealth. It's fast and easy, fees are low, and transactions are confirmed instantly. Pay anyone, anywhere in the world, anytime, for just pennies on the dollar. Dash is the first digital money that's governed by its users. Join Dash and help us build a better financial system for everyone. Find out more at dash.org. That's dash.org.
Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich, Roger Ver, Colin and Jim Cantrell, Jordan Page, and Tatiana Moroz. Top minds in aerospace, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, fine arts, politics, and finance, all at the Nexus Conference in Aspen, Colorado, September the 21st through the 23rd. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Get your tickets now at nexus.freetalklive.com. New ideas and new opportunities all to be had on September the 21st through the 23rd. Nexus.freetalklive.com.
Kiyosaki, Rogers, and Schiff all concur there's an economic calamity that'll be facing this country. My question to you is, do you know when, and are you prepared? Most people don't, but my friends over at Republic Monetary Exchange have been leading experts in precious metals to help you offset the coming economic collapse. Right now, for a limited time, they have a free book called The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. You simply need to give them a call at 888-772-2929 to get that in your hands. Do not allow the insiders to do what they did to you in 2008, putting your IRAs, 401ks, and savings in jeopardy. You need this book, and you need it now. The 10 Reasons You Should Own Gold. Call 888-772-2929. That's 888-772-2929. There's a reason that the largest investment banking company in the world, JP Morgan, just purchased another 50 million ounces of silver. This free book will explain it. 888-772-2929.
Everyone needs to get a justice shed. So you have a place to throw that little juvenile delinquent you caught loitering out on the street corner. This is not rocket science, people. I just call up my neighbors, Frank and Terry. We get out there with baseball bats, fishing nets, and we knock that suspect out. And we toss him in our justice shed. We just start dealing out some shovel beatings. That's democracy, people. That's the biggest benefit of the Justice Shed, people. You are in charge.
Our Justice Shed was all filled up, so we created this Justice Cage. It's just as good. These guys, I think we caught them shoplifting, and this is my daughter's boyfriend.
Look, if you don't have a yard big enough to place a Justice Shed in, go out and get yourself a Justice Barrel. I don't care. The important thing is to take control of your safety by any means necessary.
This is the Onion News Network.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio-on-demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now. We do have full phone lines. We are going to try getting through as many of these calls as possible. It's Darryl and Mark and we'll get back to the phones in just a second.
Yeah, you've heard us talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies here. To have one of the things you need, the foundational things you need to possess cryptocurrencies is you need a wallet. Jax.io is the official wallet of Free Talk Live, and it's unique in several ways. It's got shift integration right in it, so you can shift frictionlessly and easily between currencies. So if you wanted to get rid of Bitcoin and get Litecoin or Ether or a whole variety of coins that they have over there, and the list is way too long to list here on the air, you can do that. And it allows you to hold a whole bunch of different cryptocurrencies in one wallet. You can access it on your laptop. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on your tablet. It's a cross-platform piece of technology. It's easy to back up your wallet and recover funds with Jax, and they're striving to give you command over your digital life, coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's the digital command center in the palm of your hand. Jax, the official wallet of Free Talk Live. You go to jaxx.io and get your Jax wallet today. jaxx.io.
And let's go back to Skype, where we've got Anarchy Radio calling in. Go ahead. You were starting to make a point. I forget what the point was, but go ahead, and if you can make that very quickly for us. Are you there? Did you mute yourself again? Because I have you unmuted on this end.
Yep, we're good.
All right.
Yeah, as far as the other kid, there's inherent risks. He knew what he was doing. He was a grown individual. There should be no repercussions. There should be no regulation meted out. But the purpose of my call tonight was I recently evicted a roommate. He still has an outstanding balance. Ended up looking under his bed for a lighter and found a series of IDs and debit cards in his possession, or in his former possessions, or the possessions that he has left here. He's been gone for a few days but hasn't gotten them. What should I do with these? I mean, I'd like to simply confront him about it, but I mean, this is pretty damning. There's 3-4 different IDs, two other people's debit cards. I mean, it's pretty obvious that these are not his, and that
Are the
he got
IDs
them.
fake, or are they legitimate IDs of other people?
They're legitimate IDs of other people. One's a Mexican consulate ID, and the other two are driver's licenses and stuff like that. And I work as a doorman. I check IDs every Friday, Saturday night.
I would say that if you have a way of contacting the people, do that.
That's what I would do.
If you don't have a way of contacting the people, in the system that we currently live in, the police are, that organization that would most likely be able to get contact info for them.
It's so easy to get a hold of people these days.
Well, you don't necessarily have to, give the police all the info of how you found the ID. Just, hey, I found these. I don't know how to contact them. Hoping you can, and just leave it at that.
Yeah, I suppose.
I would look for these people to see if I could find any way to get a hold of them. That would be my first and primary
right, and
way to go.
That was also my first suggestion as well. And if you can't find the contact info, then you go to that organization that currently exists. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Mark calling in from Indianapolis. And this is not the same Mark that called in from Indy earlier in the night. Mark, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl and Mark. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi. No, this is not the one that called in earlier.
Yep.
I'm calling in about I was in the Boy Scouts. I was up. I didn't get Eagle Scout. I didn't accomplish it. I went in the military at 17, so I didn't get to accomplish. But I know in the military, if you go in as an Eagle Scout, you gain a rank as you enter the military.
Interesting.
It's very. That's what I'm saying. It's a very elite club, and I know because I was in the Boy Scouts down in Alabama, actually down by Mobile, a place called Sims, Alabama. And down there, when I was in there, we did our hiking and camping and all that. And I know one of the biggest things for being down in the heat down there was they always pressed on drinking water because they wanted to reduce the heat exhaustion. So that's why my question was there anybody that was there monitoring the water situation on why wasn't this boy drinking water so he wouldn't get this heat exhaustion.
There were 3 young men on the hike. One was 18. The others was this young man at 15, and then a younger 14-year-old. So this wasn't some big Boy Scout event. This was essentially a Boy Scout affiliated camp that helps with getting a particular badge and a few other things. Probably.
Right. And I know. I mean, being because I joined the Scouts when I was 13, and that was when I joined down there in Alabama. One of the big things with down there being in the heat was you always consume water.
Oh yeah.
Even if you weren't in the camp, I mean, it was always consuming water. So this boy going out there knew that consuming water would help reduce the heat exhaustion. I'm not saying it's not. There's a reason for it. His body, wasn't capable of handling the heat like some other people will with consuming enough water. But I don't think the Boy Scouts should be held responsible for this. Because bad things do happen. Even when I was in the military, bad things happened. It doesn't mean, that you can turn around through the military. Through boot camp and all that stuff, you've seen things happen. People get heat exhaustion, and that's something I always did. In the military, is that when you're going through boot camp, is you always drinking water. You're always drinking water.
Yeah, they bring these big water buffaloes out. These big giant tanks with spigots all over them.
Yeah.
Stand at attention and drink a canteen of water within a minute. That's what you were trying. They were always kept you hydrated, and there were still people getting heat exhaustion. So
yeah, that's the thing about water is I would say drinking water is fantastic, but it isn't everything when it comes to heat exhaustion.
Right, and also it is possible to overdose on water. I know it happened to me one time where.
Were you sweating?
I was sweating after a really, really hot day of football practice when I was in high school. I drank like a gallon of water really, really quick, and then within like 5 seconds, it all came out. Everything in my stomach just expelled. It was absolutely horrible.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I just had to like sit there and, put a cool rag on my neck.
And being with the older one, being 18, I imagine he's had first aid training, first aid merit badge and all that.
Hopefully.
It's part of the backpacking badge. Heat exhaustion is part of this badge.
And I know in first aid they do teach you on heat exhaustion. See, when I was in there, it was heat exhaustion and heat stroke. There was no other in between. It was either heat exhaustion was the first sign of heat stroke.
Okay.
So that's
they use the term heat frustration now to, I think,
which I've heard other different terms too.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is I don't think the Boy Scouts should be liable because the parents know the heat down there can be. I mean, I'm pretty sure even at home, when the kids are out playing outside, hey, you come in, cool off, drink some water. It's getting hot.
Yep, and I'm guessing they're from Texas. I'm guessing they were from Texas, sending the kid to a camp in Texas. But still, hopefully they would have known about the heat. Mark, thank you for the call. Let's go to Dave calling in from New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the trial coming up in New York related to Bitcoin and the bit license.
Okay, I've not heard about this. You got about a minute and a half, if you could be very quick.
This guy named Theo Chino is challenging, I think it's the bit license he's challenging, or at least some sort of New York regulation on Bitcoin. And it's gotten some degree of national attention, but I think it's on September 27th that the trial is occurring, and I believe it's in New York City somewhere, and I would like to urge folks who are in that area to attend the trial. Google it and attend the trial. Theo Chino is his name.
Yep, I just pulled something up from Cointelegraph that I will post the link on the Facebook and the Twitter. And Dave, thank you. And if you know anything else about this when the trial happens, I don't know if you plan on traveling out to New York for the trial, but if you do, definitely give us some updates on that. And I've heard that Washington State recently implemented some kind of bit license sort of thing.
That's a great way to drive off innovation from your state.
And I know that because I got some emails from some Bitcoin companies that I do business with saying, Effective this date, we will no longer do business with anybody in the state of Washington. Dave, thank you for the call. And if we didn't get you tonight, I would say call back tomorrow, but tomorrow's a special live recorded episode. But you can call back on Monday or pretty much any other night of the week. And we are always live at freetalklive.com.
Have you?
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your get intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, September 16th, 2017. Silver is trading at $17.59 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,320 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,873. Antiwar.com reports a new poll from Gallup shows that a majority of Americans, 58%, are in favor of attacking North Korea militarily if the U.S. cannot accomplish its goal by more peaceful means first. Americans were split more or less evenly on whether sanctions and diplomacy could work. This is the first time since 2003 that Gallup has asked about attacking North Korea. At that time, only 47% favored an attack. The shift in the last 14 years appears to have been greatly along political lines, with an overwhelming 82% of Republicans now backing war, compared to just 37% of Democrats. The possibility of such an attack has been discussed a lot more this year than any time in decades. Repeated North Korean tests have been presented as a growing threat to the U.S. mainland, with the Trump administration declaring diplomacy a failure from the start. Despite so much talk of imminent war and a shift toward support for military aggression, the poll also showed a majority of Americans don't think a U.S. attack would be happening in the next 6 months, suggesting that most believe something short of a war is going to be given considerable additional time. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap and Amazon, at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. UPI reports the Department of Justice will not be permitted to withhold federal grant funds from cities that refuse to assist federal immigration officials to pursue suspected undocumented immigrants, according to a federal judge on Friday. U.S. District Judge Harry D. Leinenweber in Illinois said in a 41-page ruling that Attorney General Jeff Sessions likely overstepped his authority in efforts to urge sanctuary cities to give federal agents access to jails or tip them off when a suspected undocumented immigrant is scheduled for release. The policy to withhold federal funding was rooted in an executive order signed by President Donald Trump in January declaring sanctuary cities would not be eligible for federal grants, which Sessions has been working to enforce ever since. In July, Sessions added new requirements for local law enforcement, specifically requiring access to jails and information on suspected undocumented immigrants 48 hours before their release from jail in order to be eligible for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. The lawsuit was filed by Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel in early August in response to the new requirements. Chicago officials said 37 municipal and county governments also filed briefs in support of their suit. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. They don't feed the banks. They're Bitcoin preferred and have removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports hundreds of protesters poured into St. Louis streets on Friday and some scuffles erupted after a Missouri judge acquitted a former police officer of murder. With the National Guard on standby in case of violence, authorities appealed to demonstrators to remain peaceful as they protested the outcome of a case reminiscent of circumstances that spawned racially charged unrest in nearby Ferguson and gave rise to the Black Lives Matter movement in 2014. Police said several protesters threw rocks and water bottles, while video footage and eyewitnesses witnessed police officers dousing at least 5 people with pepper spray about a block from the courthouse. As of Friday night, police reported making 13 arrests and said 4 officers had been assaulted. One group of demonstrators tried to enter Interstate 40, but were blocked by police officers in riot gear. Former St. Louis police officer Jason Stockley was found not guilty of first-degree murder in the shooting death of Anthony Lamar Smith 5 weeks after the end of a non-jury trial. Stockley said Smith fled in his car when the officer tried to arrest him on drug charges. Defense attorney said Stockley believed Smith was armed. A gun was found in the car, though prosecutors argued Stockley planted the weapon and that the gun only had Stockley's DNA on it. Stockley and his partner shot Smith 5 times while he was in his car. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Americans across the nation made their voices heard this week as they demanded more mind-blowing guitar solos. Calling for the solos to be, quote, face-meltingly cool and go on for well over 10 minutes, Americans stressed that all guitar solos from now on should be equally as kick-ass as those in Van Halen's Hot for Teacher and AC/DC's Thunderstruck, or even better.
It should start out really slow, and then get faster and faster until they're all the way up at the top of the guitar neck and bending the notes like crazy. So it's like, and then there's all this awesome pyrotechnic stuff going off in the background. They should all be like that.
And in this week's local news, a report noted that on its surface, Glenbrook, Ohio is a small town like any other, a peaceful all-American town. And yet, the report's authors added, if you only look closer, what you find may surprise you. In other news, a man is just having one of those decades where he doesn't feel like doing anything.
This is the Onion News Network.
It's time for Off the Air Live. And here's your host, Cody O'Connor.
Nope, not tonight. Thank you. Not tonight, not this night. It's just me, Vincent. Cody's taking a break, and I cut my trip back up to Grafton County short just to be here. So I figured, well, instead of just sitting around masturbating in my dorm, I might as well be here doing something productive. Who am I kidding? This is not productive, but this is a hell lot of fun. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this September 9th. That's right, because today was the day of the gun show I was at, the September 9th edition of Off the Air Live. I am